What is shaking? Happy Friday to you. Beautiful day here in the Bay. Mostly beautiful days here in the Bay. That's why we get to pay $7 a gallon for gasoline. It's not there yet. I like to brace myself. I like to say it's seven because then when I go to the gas station, I'm like, oh, look, it's only 6.20. I feel so lucky. This is fantastic. Before we get to our guest today, let's give our sponsor a shout out, Fieldwork, who's going to be doing something really, really cool. Let me get to the locations real quickly. You got the beer garden across from the park. It's right there, McCovey Cove. It's got to be the coolest beer garden in the Bay. Maybe one of the best beer gardens like in the country. I can't speak for other beer gardens, but how many beer gardens are right on McCovey Cove, or right on any cove for that matter, right across the street from a major league ballpark? The game's on. If you're not going to the game, you can watch the game. You can go to Mission Rock right there, grab some food. You can go over to the OG in Berkeley, San Ramon, San Leandro. They're all over the place. And what we're going to have for you, I don't have all the information yet, but we're going to be going out to the beer garden the last series of the season and doing something for Mike Krukow. And Fieldwork is going to make a beer specifically for Mike Krukow, in honor of Mike Krukow. And the proceeds are going to go to, I don't have the name yet, but they're going to go to something having to do with animals that help individuals with Mike's affliction. So it's just a really cool thing that Fieldwork is doing. I love them. I love their beer. They got great beer. But I love the fact that they do things for the puppies and the kitties, and they tie it all together too. So this is a really, really cool thing that I'm proud to be a part of, and I love the fact that Fieldwork sponsors his show and comes up with really, really cool ideas. So if you're light on the stash this weekend, head over to Fieldwork, grab yourself some beer. If you want to get some non-alcoholic beer, they got that for you as well, or seltzer. I believe they have that for you too. They got all kinds of good stuff over there, from porters, to stouts, to lagers, and pilsners. Fieldwork has it all. My guest today is a pleasure to have on. I've talked to him many times when I was doing the radio show. 11-time California Sports Writer of the Year. Wrote for, is it 15? I thought it was 11. Oh, I'm not gonna fucking mention your Substack now. You fucking correct me in the first 3 minutes of the show. Jesus Christ. You have a Substack?
Yes,
No, you don't. You don't have a Substack. No, you really don't. I thought you did, but you don't anymore. All right, 15 time. How many with the Times? How many with the Chronicle?
I think it was 8 and 7.
Okay.
Like that,
How many with the National?
None with the National.
Now tell us
Nobody
about.
knows what you're talking about with the National.
We're gonna get into that though, because that was one of my favorite publications of all time. All right, let's get into the Substack, because the problem with doing this sort of thing, it's fun to do, but you got to let people know you exist. And we're just getting to the point where people kind of know we exist. Occasionally they do. Hopefully more and more will come on board. But we want to let people know when we have guests on, friends of mine that do incredible work. Where like people are out there going, man, I miss Scott. I miss reading Scott. You don't have to miss reading Scott. You don't. All you got to do is go to Substack, correct?
Yeah. Substack. I guess Substack.com, and then just type in my name, and then you can go and you can subscribe. You get I think if you subscribe, you get a month free, and then after that, if you want to keep reading, you got to pay up. So.
Do you get like a hat, like an Ostler hat, or like a thong, or
whatever you want,
socks, or something? Like you giving away? You giving away any freebies?
Aubrey Huff autographed thong. Yeah.
We thought about like we haven't done any merchandise. Like everybody's done merchandise.
Merch, yeah.
I know, but what do you do? What do you do? Like a hat, a shirt? Like you know what I want to do? I want to
everywhere you go. It's like you go in a gas station. They got Acme, Chevron.
How about if I did a
t-shirts.
styrofoam middle finger?
Yeah.
Like a big styrofoam middle finger that said the Tom Tolbert Show on
How come
it.
they don't make those?
Those would be pretty cheap
at
too.
Ballparks.
And then you could take them to the game.
Yeah.
Can you imagine how big they'd be at Giant games now?
Oh.
Shit. That actually might be uncomfortable.
With Tony's picture on there.
Exactly.
Like
Everybody'd have them.
Ooh,
We'll make them in team colors.
I get one.
Yeah, absolutely. Just for the funsy of it. And we got to start out the show with because I was talking to Scott obviously before he came on, and he saw I was wearing the Angels shirt, and I didn't know you started your beat with the Angels.
Yeah, I was working in the LA Times. It was 1978. My boss asked me, I was doing features and stuff like that. And he said, "Why don't you cover baseball?" And so I covered the Angels the first half of '78. Then I switched over and covered the Dodgers. So it was quite an adventure. But yeah, the Angels were cool. And Bobby Grich, Nolan Ryan, uh,
Bobby Grich, glorious
Don Baylor.
mustache. Glorious mustache.
Yeah. And they were good guys. And they liked to have Bobby Grich he just wanted to have fun. He was like a 15-year-old.
Yeah.
You know, I remember one time the team was in Texas in the clubhouse. He gets a bunch of his teammates. And he says, "Hey, after the game, we'll each grab a 6-pack and we'll go over to Six Flags and ride the roller coasters and pick up some chicks." And just
and pick up some chicks.
oh man, yeah, that's all Bobby did. Dude. Just yeah. His nickname was Sneaky Snake.
Who is he, Wooderson? You go pick up chicks like playing Major League Baseball, get a
Yeah.
sixer and go to the park.
What a challenge, right?
But
But really
one of-
good guy.
one of my
Don
favorite-
Baylor was a nice guy. And Nolan Ryan was a sweetheart. It was fun.
I said if they used to have, if they had analytics back then, they would have lined everybody up within 15 feet of the left field foul pole and the foul line when Don Baylor came up. I don't think I ever saw Don Baylor hit a ball to the right
When
side
they
of
tried to
second
pitch
base.
out, he would still pull it, right?
It's unbelievable.
Oh, yeah.
His home runs were straight down the
Oh.
line, straight down the line. What a bummer what happened to him. I mean,
Yeah.
geez, they broke his leg when Vladdy was throwing the first pitch out for the Angels. Just brutal stuff.
Yeah.
But you got to tell everybody your Rod Carew story, because Rod Carew's one of my favorite players. I had a poster of Rod Carew going up. Like he was one of my favorites. George Brett. Those are like two of my favorites. I love those guys. I love the way Carew handled the bat, the way he hit, and I love that Brett could hit and hit with power. He's probably my favorite, but Carew is right there as well. I love Carew. And then he goes, "Well, I got a story about Carew." So, what was your first meeting like with Rod
Well,
Carew?
phenomenal baseball player, and they pick him up in I don't know '83 or what. I'm bad in years, something like that. And he's been with and by that time I'm writing a column at the time, so I'm not going out to the ballpark every day, but I'm showing up once in a while. And so I'm thinking, Rod Carew is a Hall of Famer, and I got to write a column on him, right? You got to hit the main guys and stuff like that, and I haven't really talked to him. So I get to the clubhouse a few hours before the game, and he's sitting in his locker, and I walk over and I said, "Hey, Rod," and I introduced myself, and I said, "Yeah, I'd like to do an interview if you got a few minutes." And he says, "Fuck you, Scott Ostler." I don't know if he used my name. That's my Al Davis story. That's a whole separate. He says, "Fuck you." I looked at him like, he says, "Fuck you," and he just went off. He went off for like a full minute, swearing and shouting and just full. Everybody in the clubhouse was looking around like, Jesus, this guy must have really pissed old Rod off. And finally he takes a breath, and I said, "Well, let's forget about the interview. Maybe you can tell me what's bothering you." He said, "You know what fucking bothered me, you fucking ass." And he just goes nuts again. And finally I just walk away. And like I told you, Reggie Jackson was on the team at the time. And I knew Reggie pretty well from over the years for a bunch of stuff. But so it's kind of quiet down. And Reggie calls me over and he says, because I think what's bothering him is he sees you come in the clubhouse all the time. And a lot of times you come over and talk to me. And that pisses him off because you never talk to him. He's out here. Well, that's the way Rod is. That was me and Rod. We didn't exactly bond. And people, like you were saying, he thought he was a nice guy. You talked to him recently. Maybe he is. Maybe I'm the one guy in the world who just fucking pissed him off. I don't know. I do rub people the wrong way sometimes.
Maybe it's what's interesting is that I think some athletes and even coaches respond better to former athletes.
Yeah.
Even though the justification isn't really sound.
Yeah.
For responding, it's athletes in the media I'm talking about. It just that's the way they're wired. They're just distrustful, or they just look at like, why am I talking to you? You didn't play.
Yeah.
It just
oh no question. Yeah. I remember like in LA when I covered the Lakers down there and stuff, and there was a broadcaster. In fact, he's still there. I think he just retired, named Jim Hill.
Love Jim Hill.
Yeah, and he was a former NFL defensive back or something like that. So he'd played ball, right? And so he had that cachet and stuff. And so all the players would talk to him. He loved to talk to him. And like when the Lakers win something, they got out the champagne. They'd pull Jim and douse him and all that stuff, because he was one of the guys. So, and I always figured out, whatever, that's if they like him, that's fine. But
what was it like working down there with? I want to start with the Dodgers first.
All right.
Tommy Lasorda, I miss that era of manager.
Oh yeah.
I miss that era of sports.
Right.
It was funny because the 70s and the early 80s were just completely different.
Yeah.
You had Earl Weaver, I think Lou Piniella was a little bit later, but Sparky Anderson,
Oh, man.
Whitey
Yeah,
Herzog,
yeah.
Tommy Lasorda. I mean, they just you never knew what you're gonna. Now everything is so corporate, from
Yeah. Oh,
players to
yeah.
coaches to
Yeah.
GMs. It's all corporate stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But what was it like dealing with Lasorda? Because obviously, anybody that follows sports at all, his quotes / tirades
Yeah.
are just legendary.
Yeah, but you're right about the managers back then. It was a treat because Sparky was still around when I
Yep.
was there, so I dealt with him. I remember one time I guess it was the Angels were in Detroit, and there was an incident where Detroit got pissed off because the Angels stole the base with a 4-run lead or something, one of those broke those codes or something like that, and so they were sounding off. So the next day I went in, and Ralph Houck was the manager. I think he was a former Army general or something. They called him Little General or something. He was a tough guy, right? And I just went into his office by myself, and they said, "Hey, there was some talk about you guys were pissed off about fucking guys, fuck that," and he just went off. He just screaming and yelling and just went off. Just the guys would do that. Managers would do that all the time. In fact, I'll just story. This is going to sound like the Rod Carew story. You're going to think there's really something wrong with me, but. So in '78, they assigned me to do baseball, and at midseason, I flip-flop from the Angels to the Dodgers. So I pick up the Dodgers, and they're in St. Louis, I think. So I go to the ballpark, and I go in the clubhouse and go into a manager's little cubicle there, and Tommy's in there. So I introduce myself, tell him I'm going to be covering the team, and he said, "Oh, great." Well, at midseason, one of our other writers at the time, a guy named Ross Newhand, you probably remember the name at the time, and he had written a story about Tommy where he quoted Tommy. And he quoted him with a lot of expletives. He said, or bleep. What's the bleep and bleep, bleep, bleep? So Tommy says, "Let me ask you this, Scotty." I'm already Scotty.
Yeah,
too. We just met. And he says, "Why do you think Ross wrote that story? He put all those like bleeps in there and like I'm swearing. And I don't, I swear sometimes at the ballpark, but I don't like people to know that I don't like that to be out in public and stuff like that." And I said, "I don't know. You'd have to ask Ross." And he says, "Because, I wish he wouldn't have done that." And but it really pisses me off when guys say, "God damn it," and he's getting madder. And Tommy was like a locomotive pulling out of the station, he's picking up speed, right? And so I'm standing up, and he's facing me, and he's like we're nose to nose, like I'm the umpire or something like that. And he's screaming, "Yeah, that fucking cocksucker! God damn that fucking Ross Newhand! When I see that motherfucker, I'll tell." And he's like spitting and shit like that. And the other Dodgers are peeking in the office like, "Jesus, what's going on there?" And he goes off for a minute, and then he says, "Hey, anyway, Scotty, welcome to the ball club." He was a treat, man. He would go off every once in a while. He was like Old Faithful,
Yeah, just blow.
Yeah, he'd be fine, and all of a sudden, it fucking just goes nuts.
That's great though. The way he can bring it right back down to normal.
Yeah.
It's not a cooling down period. It's like, right, I'm back. So okay, tell the wife I said hi.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, he was.
Have a good day.
He was an original, man. Yeah.
But that gave sports more flavor.
Oh man,
it just did. And again, now it's just not like that anymore. I mean, the Dodgers had their own thing going on with all the players hating Garvey and him getting all the attention, and then we all know what happened with him and Cindy later on. I mean, that was a disaster. It was just you didn't know as much about that stuff as it was happening.
Yeah,
because there wasn't as much coverage. Let me ask you that. I want to get to Garvey though in a minute, but
okay.
What was the coverage like back then? Because now there really isn't much we don't know about every team and every little thing that happens. And if somebody says something, if somebody doesn't like somebody else, there's so many reporters and so many news outlets, somebody's going to find out. What was it like back then? Was there a lot of things that like were just kind of, we don't need to talk about, like as a writer, we don't need to talk about this. Isn't that big a deal?
Oh yeah. In fact, you mentioned Garvey.
Yep.
Because everyone knew it was kind of a joke among the writers on the road. You always got chicks coming in and out of the room, right?
Yep.
I'm sorry, Steve, if you're listening. We'll change the name when we do the header. But nobody wrote it, and I'm not sure I would now because what are you going to get? Hey, Steve Garvey likes women. He's married, but he cheats on his wife. So there's certain things you don't write. Now, if he's showing up to the ballpark late every day, and he's hungover and stuff like that, Steve got a problem with the nightlife and stuff like that, when women, and then maybe you write it. But there was no reason to do that, and there was.
Didn't him and Sutton get into it?
Oh,
they hated each other, didn't they?
They got into a fist fight.
Yeah, that's right.
Like a cat fight.
Yeah.
It was like a clawing kind of thing. It was, I don't know, Yankee Stadium or Shea Stadium. I don't remember. The Yankees might have been playing. I don't remember, but it was in New York, and so we do our usual pregame stuff in the clubhouse. The writers do, and they kick us out with a half an hour to go or something. So we're up in the lounge having our pregame meal, and some guy comes in and says, "Hey man, you guys should know that there was a big fight in the clubhouse just now." And oh shit! So we all dashed down there, and it turns out that Garvey and Sutton had. I don't know if Sutton had said something about Garvey's wife or vice versa or something like that. And so they got into it and they were throwing. And because Sutton didn't, they hated each other, you know.
Yeah.
A lot. Basically, most of the guys on the team thought Steve Garvey was a phony and a suck up and all that stuff. And so they didn't like him. So it came to blows in the clubhouse. But it was crazy. Yeah, and you know, Garvey had some scratches, fingernail scratches on his cheek or something like that. And so, yeah. That was the last time I remember a clubhouse fight, and that was a long time ago.
Long time ago. The only one I can remember, and it wasn't really a clubhouse fight, and it wasn't really a fight. It was more of a dust-up, if you want to call it that, was Kent and Bonds.
Oh, right.
And I think wasn't that in San Diego?
Might have been. The one in the dugout?
Yeah,
yeah.
The one in the dugout. Yeah. That's the one we saw.
It might have been San Diego, yeah.
Because Kent said something to somebody, and Bonds stuck up for that person, and then they just... I mean, obviously, they didn't like each other at all.
And at the time, too, really easygoing personalities, right?
Oh, yeah, real easygoing. We used to have Kent on once, so Kent would come on once a week. Yeah. And we had Bonds on once a week, too.
Wow.
And I still remember when we asked Barry why he decided to do the show, because, like, Barry's actually, and he was really good. He was funny.
I don't remember that. Wow,
he was engaging. Yeah. We had, first episode, first show, Ralph goes, "Why'd you decide to do this?" And Barry goes, "Well, I wanted to give back to the Bay Area." And I just I had to turn my mic off. I was like, I didn't want to spit into the mic. I thought it would have been unprofessional. I'm like, I want to give back to the Bay Area. But Kent had no problems giving it to Barry on the show. He did it for 2 years.
Really?
Oh, and when Barry hit, I want to say it was it 600 or 660? I can't remember which one. But it was huge. You know, I don't know if there's fireworks, but, you know, Willie was there. But I think both Willies might have been there. But Mays was there. I think the whole family was there. Celebration. And I still remember Kent being on deck when Barry hit the home run. So we asked, you know, Jen, I remember asking Jeff, I go, how was it getting to witness history? Like, you're right there in the on-deck circle witnessing history as Bonds hits the home run. And maybe it was 7. I don't know which one it was. But anyway, it could have been 660, yeah. And then and Jeff goes, well, he goes, they took freaking 6 minutes to get back and get the game going again. Shit. It could take them long enough. Wow. He could have said hi to everybody he's ever fucking met.
Oh, man.
I don't even think I'm not even sure he said, man, what a great,
they were still teammates.
Yeah, what a great accomplishment. Wow. Not even what a great accomplishment. Freaking 6 minutes it took. Yeah. Jesus.
Yeah, he really got into that one, but just right.
What I really want to say is a fucking classic. Oh my God! So I wanted to ask you, because especially with what's going on with the Lakers nowadays, what a disaster! I mean, this once proud franchise, second in the NBA. I think they're one behind the Celtics, or they tied with the Celtics now. I know they've always been kind of back and forth.
Yeah.
I think they're either one behind or tied with the Celtics for most championships in the history of the NBA. And it's crazy, too. I read a stat a few years ago. I don't know if it still holds true, that half the NBA Finals either featured the Lakers or the Celtics.
Yeah, at one point it probably was.
Which was like just
and the fact that they're close now is really cool, because I grew up in L.A. as a Laker fan, and they played the Celtics every year in the finals, and they were like 0 for 8 or something like that. And they just got the shit beat out of them every year. I remember the Lakers I heard this story, the Lakers had a guy, big center named Ray Felix, the Count. 7-foot guy.
Okay.
Wasn't very good, because they didn't have any good centers. The Lakers didn't have good centers in those days. And they're playing in the finals, and Boston beats them in a close overtime game or something like that. And so they're in the locker room, and they're all sitting around, and the guys are really, really downcast, man. Really, oh shit. And Felix, the Count, says, "Hey guys, it's okay, man. We'll get him next game." And Hot Rod Huntley says, "Hey man, that was game 7."
Oh God! Oh, that is a good one. That is a good one. I don't know if I'm. I don't know if I can tell you the name of the player on this, so I'll just say it happened when Phoenix or Portland was playing. I think it was L.A. and Portland was down 3-2, and they were flying down to L.A. to play, and one of the players said, "No, one of the players said, hey, we got to win this one. You know, obviously we got to win this one, and the season's over." And the other player said he's a rookie. He didn't know the playoff structure. He goes, "Don't we play 7 regardless?" You're down 4-2. When you come back home, we're gonna cut it to 4-3. Right. And they just all stopped and look at him like, well, what are you talking? What?
Yeah,
What?
yeah.
A 4-3? You're gonna. So what was it like covering the Lakers with Magic and Kareem? And that, I mean, I still to this day, I don't know if you agree with me, but I still to this day say that maybe in every sport, Magic's Game 6 against the Sixers, playing center, was the greatest individual performance in a playoff setting. Maybe in all of sports. Reggie Jackson always comes to mind. But this was a rookie playing out of position on the road and putting up 42, 15, and 7. People forget Jamal Wilkes had 37 that game, which was amazing.
Yeah.
But, I mean, if Magic were 10-year vet, you might say it's still a great game. But the fact he was a rookie playing out of position and saying, I got this, to me, that one, anytime somebody says greatest playoff performance, I go, Magic.
No question. And this is a big factor, which you didn't mention. You know who the MVP of the whole entire league was that year?
Was it Kareem?
Yeah. Kareem was the MVP. And guess what? He didn't play in that game.
Yep.
He didn't even make the trip because he had sprained his ankle in Game 5. And so we're playing without the MVP against a team that has a big center and all this stuff. So, yeah, that game, I'm totally with you. I hate to sound like, oh, yeah, I agree, Tommy. But that game was just burned on my mind. I mean, the day before, the team flies out, and back then the writers would fly on the team on the plane. And on that, I think they chartered. They might have chartered that time. Usually they flew commercial.
Yep.
And anyway, we're at the airport waiting for the flight and sitting around the lounge, and Paul Westhead, who was the coach at the time, he was the fill-in coach. That was a crazy story. He guy small college coach the year before. All of a sudden, he's coaching the Lakers in the NBA Finals. So Westhead comes over to the writers, and he said, hey, just to let you guys know, I'm going to play Magic at center tomorrow, some of the game. Not all the game, but I'm going to mix him in. He's going to play some center. I just thought you might be interested in knowing that. And oh, shit.
Yeah.
He's a rookie point guard.
Yeah.
I know, he's 6'9". He's a fucking rookie point guard. And he's going to be playing center in not in an exhibition game. This is the NBA Finals, right? And so oh, shit, we got to write about this. So the plane's taking off, and it takes off, and we get up in the air, and we all, okay, now we got to talk to Magic. And the deal is, when Kareem flew with the team, he didn't fly this time because he had the bad ankle. When he flew, he always had the front bulkhead seat, and he would sit. That was his seat. And when he got on the plane, he would take a blanket and put it over his head, like, don't fuck with me, And he would stay like that. And so Magic gets on the plane. He takes Kareem's seat, gets a blanket, puts it around, like goofing on the captain, right? Anyway, we get up in the air, and so there's 3 or 4 of us beat writers that were traveling with the team. So we go up to Magic and say, hey, Magic, you got to talk to us. We got to write our stories because we'd have to write on the plane, right? So we'd have our stories ready as soon as we hit town. And so Magic, give us 5-10 minutes here, and we'll talk about the game. Then we can write our stories. And, yeah, sure. And so we're all yakking up, talking about the game, and saying, yeah, this is crazy. You're going to start. Apparently you're going to start at center. And he says, oh yeah. And he was Magic was a trip, man. He was from start to finish. And he says, and at one point I said, aren't you a little bit nervous about this? Starting it. And he says, oh, no. I know I can play center. And I said, well, how do you know you can play center? He said, I played center in high school. And I said, yeah, so did I. And he said, oh, no. He says, in fact, I could write your stories for you. You guys don't worry about it. Everything's fine. And I swear, I don't know what the other writers thought, but I thought he was fucking delusional.
Yeah.
I thought, okay, he's tripping out. He's so nervous about this. I should have known better because I covered him the whole season. But he gets it. And so to start the game, first of all, I don't get too deep into this because I could go on for a long time. But Westhead told me later, he said they get to the arena and there's some construction going on right outside their locker room. And it's like boom, boom, boom. They're building this big thing, like wooden thing, and it's going to be for the post game ceremony in case they win and everything. But Westhead said I couldn't shake the feeling they were building a scaffold that they were going to hang us after the game. So yeah, because everything's set up. They can't win this game against Dr. J and the guys. And so the game is getting ready to start, and Jim Jones was the 6'9" power forward.
Jim Jones. Yep.
And so he starts to walk out towards the center jump because he's going to jump center because he's the biggest guy. And Westhead calls him, "Hey Jim, hey," and he says, "No, Magic's going to jump center." Jones is like, "What?" Magic's like, "Woo!" And he goes out there, "Woo!" Yep. Like the first time down court, he sweeps in on Dawkins and puts up a 6-foot hook or something like that. Shit. Game over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so awesome.
He just, oh man.
And I got to watch it at 11:30 at night.
Yeah, it was not. NBA Finals were not on live TV that year.
Nope.
For a couple of years.
I think that was the last year
Yeah.
they weren't on live TV because I remember watching the Bullets and the Sonics at 11:30 at night. I remember watching that at 11:30, telling my cousin, don't tell me the score if you're up and to see it. I remember Jim Hill would come on back in the day and say, if you don't want to know the score of the game, turn away from the TV. They'd give you time to turn the TV off and then not but nowadays with phones and internet, it's hard. I've mastered the craft, but it's not easy to stay away from a score anymore. Back then it wasn't that hard. But I even back then I was like, I don't want to know. I'm going to stay up till 11:30 and watch the game. My mom and dad will be in bed, even if it's a weeknight. I'm staying up and watching this damn thing. If I got to turn the sound down.
It's weird because even G League games are on live now. Yeah, they don't time delay
everything's
those.
on live.
But there was I forget what else was on. I guess they had to do it after Johnny Carson or whatever was on. I don't know. But yeah, it was nuts.
But now, how many years were you? When did you come up here?
I don't know, like 35 years ago, 34. So
it's like 85, 86?
I think 86, something like that.
So you were there for half of the Lakers run.
Yeah.
You were there for half of the Lakers run.
I was there for the start, and then,
What do you remember about Dr. Buss? Which, by the way, I made the mistake of calling him Mr. Buss one day.
That's weird.
And his assistant came up to me. He circled all the way back and came to me and goes, "That's Doctor." You know what I said? Of what?
It's weird because he was a doctor of chemical engineering or something like that. And it's weird because he was not a stuffy guy or anything.
He wasn't.
Shitty Levi's and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And he looked like a bum and a hobo, and he had a crappy looking hair thing. But he liked people to call him doctor.
I know.
I never did.
It's an amazing thing.
Yeah.
No, apparently I wasn't one of the select few.
I'll call him doctor if he fixes something on my body. But he was actually really a good guy. He was. You could talk to him anytime you wanted. He knew what was going on. People liked him. He was basically a pleasant guy, very honest. If you did an interviews with him, talked to him, he was very honest, kind of quiet, not a jerk or loudmouth or anything like that. I thought he was kind of a likable guy, and he liked 18-year-old girls.
Yeah.
But which is legal. So, what was he at the time? He was like, I don't know, late 40s or 50 or something like that. But every night he had at games, he had a different 18-year-old.
I just always wonder what the fucking conversation is. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you're 50, she's 18. I mean, maybe there's not a whole lot of talking going on. That's the point. Possibly, I don't know.
But he was very proud of his things. I was in his office once, and some girl calls, and he says, "Oh, you can't make it tomorrow night? Oh, I'm sorry. How come you got to work? Oh, you're working at the Gap or whatever." And oh yeah, well, how much do you make there on a shift? Oh, really? Well, I'll pay you that. Just come to the game, and I'll pay you what you would have made at the Gap.
Sounds like somebody would be perfectly comfortable on OnlyFans nowadays.
Yeah. And by the way, after every home game, there was a press lounge.
Yeah, I remember that.
And Dr. Buss, Jerry Buss, would be in there.
Yeah.
And he'd have his date with him, and he'd usually have, like Gabe Kapler, remember the
Welcome Back Cotter.
He was a good buddy. He was always there. And then there'd always be one or two new celebrities and stuff that Jerry brought to the game, and they would just be back there knocking it back with. And by the way, tending bar at the little Pat Riley, Chick Hearn.
They're tending bar.
Those guys would tend bar. Hey, Riles, can you get me another Coors Light, man? Yeah, here
Riles,
you go, Scotty.
Can you give me a Coors Light?
Yeah. And by the way, I'm the one respond. I saw Riley about a year ago, and I claimed credit for this, and he did not deny it. I'm the one that's responsible for him being in the position he's in today as a former great coach and all that stuff.
How?
Well, you remember the way he got his job is he was in the broadcast booth.
Yep.
With Chick Hearn, the great Lakers broadcaster. He was the commentary.
Yep.
And so he did that for a few years, and he was kind of getting into it. He was pretty good at it. In fact, he was really good at it. But then the Lakers head coach, a guy named Jack McKinney,
Yep.
fell off his bike, hurt his head. So his assistant coach, Paul Westhead, took over the job temporarily, and he needed an assistant coach. And so there, I don't know, and Jerry Buss suggested Elgin Baylor. We can get Elgin. And, you know, what Westhead wanted somebody he was kind of familiar with, and he'd gotten to know Riley and all that stuff. He says, what about Riley? And Buss said, I don't know about that. Why don't you think about that and get back to me? Which Westhead said was shorthand for that's a shitty idea.
Yeah.
But so he came back in a couple of days later. He said, no, I thought about it. I want Riley to be my assistant. So Riley's the assistant coach. They bring him down from the broadcast booth to be an assistant coach. And about a month into the season, the team's on a road trip back east, and I think we're in New Jersey. And to tell you how different the league was and the whole dynamic was back then, you know, a lot of times we'd get to a town, and the writers would stay in the same hotel generally as the team. So we're in the same hotel. So Westhead would ring me up on the hotel phone. He said, hey, let's go out for a run. Because, you know, I like to jog and stuff, and he did too. And so we went out. We'd meet in the lobby and go out running. And I think that time he said, I'll tell you what, let's run for an hour. I said, I can't run for an hour. I said, how about a half an hour? Maybe let's go for that. No, we'll run for an hour. So we started running. And it's really, really super cold. And at one point, a storm comes in, like a snowstorm, like a blizzard. And we're out in the middle of nowhere. We don't even know where we are because we've never been to this town before and stuff. And we stagger our way, somehow find our way back, I don't know, an hour later to the hotel. And we're both like frozen and dead and all that shit. And it turns out, and later, I think it was the next day, the team put out an announcement. Paul West has been taken to the hospital because he suffered from kidney stones. He got an attack of kidney stones. And I talked to him like the next day, and he said, yeah, the doctor said it was because I got dehydrated because we went out and did that run, right? And so Westhead coached the next game, but the team flew back home, and he was still kind of suffering from that stuff. So he had to check into the hospital and have an operation. And so Riley became the head coach for like one or two games. I think it was just one game. And Riles, just man, I saw him on the bus, and he had all these papers and shit, and he was going to do it right, man. He had all the fucking analytics and stuff, and he wasn't going to just go in and he was going to go in and coach this. And he did, and the Lakers won that game. And so I figured since I put Westhead on the shelf, because Westhead wouldn't have done that without me, that gave Riley his big break. That made him, and from then on, man, that was all he needed to get that one win under his belt, and he's fine. Had he not got that, he probably would have maybe gone back to the broadcast booth or something.
Did you get him on the Armani suits and the slick back hair and all that too?
You know, I've seen pictures of him. He was a good-looking dude back then. He had it rocking, man. He had the whole look.
He was the man. I grew up I was a huge Laker fan, and he was the guy. Hey, can we get a couple more beverages? When you set it down, I can sense the lightness in the can.
You got a sensor. Wow.
Yeah, I can see. I can tell by the flex of your bicep when you set it down, like how heavy the can is. I'm like, nah, that
it didn't even move.
Yeah, I go, that seems fairly light. That seems fairly light. Oh my gosh! I mean, what a time though to be.
Oh man, that was I don't know every team every time, but if I could pick one team and 1 year to be a beat guy, that 79-80 Lakers team with Magic Johnson as a rookie, and they win the whole thing, and all the shit, that crazy stuff that happened, man. It was, that year, it would be hard to top that. There's one thing, when the team's winning, nobody's pissed at me because I'm just the writer. And I'm not writing any bad stuff because they're winning every goddamn game. And just the whole atmosphere, and just every game, you're like, there's Jack Nicholson. Oh, want a little Jack Nicholson story?
Yeah.
So this is 83 or 84 or something like that. By then, I'm writing a column at the Times, and so I take my wife to a game, just on an off night. I'm not sitting in the stands with her. And I looked down at Nicholson, and he was jumping up and down, and I said, I should do a story on Nicholson because nobody's ever written about him, and he's a great fan, and he's been here when the team sucked, and
Yeah.
he's just out here every night, and he's colorful and all that stuff. It'd be a good story. And so I went down at halftime, and he was walking off the court, and I introduced myself to him and told him what I wanted to do, and he says, "Well, Scotty," everyone calls me Scotty the first time, right? He says, "Scotty, I tell you what, I don't want to do that because I get too much attention here as it is, and that would just make it worse, I think. But so I appreciate it. But come on back here with us." And so it was him and the guy he always sat next to, Lou Adler, who at the time was for a long time was one of the great. Thank you, sir. Was one of the
Here, I'll
was
trade
the.
you. I'm not sure if you're gonna. Well, I'm not sure if you'll like that one.
All right, I'm sure.
This is an English pale. It's like kind of a little more bready.
He was.
Yeah, it is. It's an interesting. I like it, but it's interesting.
Well,
Okay, so Lou Adler.
Lou Adler managed the Mamas and Papas,
Yep.
or producer and all. He was just a huge guy in the showbiz, right? So Lou and Jack and me, and the Lakers had given them a little room in the back room where they could chill out at halftime.
Yeah.
And it was just as little as this space here. It was like a broom closet. There's nothing in there. There's a couple chairs, and just to get away from the crowd,
Yeah.
right? So we go back in there, and Jack rolls a joint and fires it up, and starting, you pass it around, and pretty soon there's a knock at the door, and Jack goes and looks down and says, "Hey, Mike, hey, come on in, buddy. What are you up to?" It's Michael Douglas. So Michael Douglas walks in, and so the four of us are, having a smoke.
Wow.
And then there's another knock at the door. And Jack goes out again, "Hey, Jimmy, come on in." Jimmy Buffett.
No. Gee, my goodness.
It's like a Saturday Night Live sketch,
It
right?
really is.
Come on. And I'm thinking, I'm looking around and I'm thinking, I wonder if they'll be impressed if I tell them I won Sports Writer of the Year in California. But that was just like a night at the Lakers, man. They were crazy stuff. The press, the beat guys used to sit right on the court. Now we have to sit way the hell up, but we used to sit right on the court. And like Frank Robinson sat behind me, the baseball guy. He was behind me. There's all kinds of stuff. Wanda Cooper, who was Mike Cooper's wife, she sat over here, and we were buddies and would hang out and all that stuff. So all these stars were there, and it was crazy. In fact, Frank Robinson had a daughter then. She was, in her 20s or something like that, really cute and everything. So she would come down and talk. We'd talk. We had big kind of buddies and stuff like that. And one of the ushers called me over once and said, "Hey, Frank called me over and said, who's that? Who's my daughter talking to?" And the guy said, "That's Scott Ostler." And he said, "That fucking guy." So yeah, but there was just man. The one thing I feel bad about is that TV show you probably saw it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which was total fiction.
Yeah.
I mean, I just like it. I don't know half the stuff that's fiction, Scott. I just knew that wasn't Jerry West, and I was like, if you're gonna do that to Jerry West, then who knows what else you're making up. I like the show, but I didn't treat it as a documentary.
Well, you should have just called it the Bears, the Cougars, or something like that. Yeah. Just change the name and change the name of the players and stuff, and make it put your drama and shit. But it was totally fictitious and wrong.
Yep.
And it actually, I really truly believe this, Tommy, that I think it led to Jerry West's death. I don't know what he died of, but the stress and tension and bad feelings he got from that, the way he was portrayed in that show, it just tore him apart, man. In fact, I was not I was not best buddies with Wes, but I knew him. We knew each other from a long time, and Jerry was great. He would always return your calls and would always talk and stuff. And so I asked him about that, and I called him, asked him about the show one time, a couple times, and he was so hurt by that because he portrayed him as such a dick, and he wasn't like that. And one time I got done talking to him, and I called Raymond Ritter, the Lakers PR guy, who was a good friend of Wes, and I said, "You do me a favor, and just check in with Jerry. He sounds like he's going to commit suicide or something, man. He was so despondent. So that thing just killed him, and there's no reason to do that.
There was no reason, just to make it pop, to make it like. But when they showed Jerry West with the Finals MVP trophy in his office, I'm like, he didn't even have that.
No.
Let alone in his office. Anybody that knew Jerry West knew that he wouldn't have had that. But to put it in there and then have him throw it through the glass, which apparently those offices didn't even exist.
No, his
anyway.
office did not have any glass.
Yeah, which is like, I
know.
And you know what I hated too? I think, I don't know if we had, Perlman wrote the book, but maybe the producer, we had somebody on with the show.
Yeah.
And I asked them, they went on a road trip, and they had the games all wrong. They had the scores all wrong.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
told them, I
Yeah.
said,
Yeah.
look, I go in the grand scheme of things, is that going to make or break the show? No.
So why
I
not
go,
make
but
it right?
I go, but if you can't take care of the little
Yeah,
stuff,
exactly.
I go,
Yeah.
you don't even
They
give a
just didn't
shit.
They were just making shit up. Well, they were in Boston. No, it was Philly.
Yeah, no,
Just
it's-
why? Why do you change it?
Just be Lieutenant Frank Drubbin. Make it the Naked Gun.
Yeah.
Make it the Angel game that's 2-0, or the guy hits a grand slam and you come back to the scoreboard, it's 2-1. It's like, no.
Right.
I just saw the guy hit the grand slam and they got to have at least 4.
Right.
I mean, like, no one gave a shit, but it's like, it's not that hard to put 4 up on the scoreboard.
No.
Somebody hit a home run, the grand slam. Just
And
get the games right.
And I've got sour grapes because a quick story. Jeff Pearlman wrote the book that
Showtime, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Like 30 years before that, I had written a book in Los Angeles with another sports writer named Steve Springer. We co-wrote a book which covers the same topic. It was the Laker history and the Magic Johnson era and that stuff like
Yep.
that. And our book was better than Pearlman's, by the way.
Yeah, I'm sure it was.
But before Pearlman, before his crew got started on their project, there was a producer in L.A. at Showtime or Prime Ticket or something like that found our old book on the Lakers, this 35-year-old book,
Uh-huh.
and called my co-writer and said, "Hey, this is a great book, man. We got to make a TV series about this." And so the plans were in the works. We were going to have a TV series about our book. And like Magic was signed on. He said he would cooperate. He would work with the project.
Uh-huh.
Jeannie Buss was signed on and all this stuff. And so we had it ready to go. They were lining up. They lined up actors and producers and stuff like that. We're getting the contracts ready and all this stuff. And somehow it was during the time when Magic was quitting the Lakers or Jeannie fired him, and they had that kind of a falling out and all this stuff. And apparently so it was hard. It was too hard for my guys to get in touch with Jeannie and Magic at that time and all this stuff. So the project lagged. So Jeff Pearlman's group kind of out hustled my group. So they wound up getting the project. Not only that, but the book that we wrote way back in the day was called Winning Times, and they stole our name because they couldn't call it.
Did they really?
Yeah, because they couldn't call it Showtime because they weren't on Showtime network, so they call it Winning Times.
Oh,
I thought they should have at least thrown us a few bucks for stealing.
Yeah,
the
I mean, come
name,
on.
right?
It would have been the right thing to do.
You would think so.
You know what, though? The thing was, all the real stuff was so good that it was good enough not to embellish.
That's the thing.
That's the problem.
That was the thing.
They embellished when they didn't need to.
Okay, their starting power forward, Spencer Haywood.
Yep.
It was supposed to be the savior of the team, really help the team out.
Yep.
During the NBA Finals, this is again during the NBA Finals, he's so gone on drugs because he's been freebasing and all this stuff that he gets thrown off the team. He becomes the first NBA drug casualty. Gets thrown off during the NBA Finals. Can you imagine if let's say the Warriors and all of a sudden Klay Thompson, they got to throw him off after Game 3 or something. They throw Spencer Haywood off the team. They get the fuck out of here during the finals.
That's wild.
And they still survived that. But that stuff like that was going on. Spencer Haywood's a whole different trip. But all those guys, it was.
Anytime somebody says free base, I think. You weren't there. Last one. Then we'll start moving into the. Because I could spend hours and hours and hours because you wrote about it. I grew up watching it. I was a huge Magic's my favorite player ever. Those were some of my favorite teams. I was a huge Laker fan growing up. We could spend hours and hours and hours talking Lakers, but I'm pretty sure you weren't there on this, but you might have been because I think it happened later. You weren't there when they were considering Jerry Tarkanian for the Lakers job, were you?
That was just before I took over the beat. That was the.
That's right. It was just before.
It was
after.
the off season before Magic's rookie year.
That's right.
And they're looking for a coach because Jerry West had been the coach.
Yep.
And that was a trip in itself.
Yeah.
But and they wanted him to coach. He was a really good coach. Basically, he got him into the playoffs and stuff like that. But he didn't want. He had no stomach for it or anything. So he wanted out, and so they're looking for a coach, and they zeroed in on Jerry Tarkanian, who was at UNLV then, and they were. I don't know all the backstory on all this mafia stuff and everything, but they were very close to signing Tark to a contract. And Tark had this friend, I forget the guy's name, and they found him dead in the trunk of a car in Beverly Hills or something like that, some mafia hit.
Yep.
And somehow that tied in with Jerry Tarkanian because they were really good buddies and stuff. And so that, for some reason, that made took Jerry off the table.
Yeah.
So he couldn't sign.
Maybe Jerry took himself off the
Yeah,
table.
right.
Jerry's like, yeah, Vegas,
yeah.
maybe I'll stay.
Yeah, I don't
Maybe
like
I'll
trunks.
reconsider.
So
Dude starts showing up dead in trunks. I'd be like, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
good. We're good in Vegas.
yeah. So they go out and they hired Jack McKinney, who had been an assistant coach and stuff like that. It was
Yeah.
a good hire and it worked out great. And then he lasted 9 games and
Yeah.
fell off his bicycle. What
I don't want to
bicycle?
laugh at that. That's just so dumb.
Wait a minute, the head coach,
It's so dumb.
the
Just-
new head
yeah.
coach falls off his bicycle,
Falls off his bicycle.
winds up in the hospital, loses his job, and the assistant coach, who the year before had been a Shakespearean professor and basketball coach at a small college in Philly, becomes the head coach of the Lakers. And with Magic as the rookie, it was
Yeah.
just insane. The whole thing was.
And then
nuts.
the next coach is a fucking color analyst.
Yeah.
For the yeah. It's,
He was not only the
it's
color
wild.
analyst. He was the color analyst. He was also the traveling secretary.
That's right. He was.
So when you go on the road, you say, "Hey, Roz, I'm a little short. Can I get 50
That's
out of it?" And I'll
right.
pay?" Yeah, sure. Yeah. Yeah. I don't like my room, Riles. Can you help? Yeah, shit. Okay, I'll get you another. Shit. All of a sudden,
It's
he's
so-
coaching. You got the guy who was the year before was a Shakespearean professor, and the other guy who a month before was sitting up in the booth and was a traveling secretary. They're coaching the Lakers to a world championship. Ah, shit.
And nowadays, teams have two massage therapists. One for the left hamstring, one for the right hamstring.
And 14
No, this
assistant
is the
coaches.
left hamstring massage therapist. They don't do the right hamstring. They just do the left hand, like fucking crazy. Yeah, I think Tommy Abdenauer, when he was our trainer with the Warriors, I think Tommy was the traveling secretary. I think
that right?
I think he took care of all that.
Oh yeah.
Now it's like again.
Well, it used to be
again,
in the old days, the trainer would sit on the bench. I remember when I first started watching
Yep,
the Lakers.
yep.
They had no assistant coach. No assistant
It was
coach.
just a head coach.
Yeah. The head coach. And the trainer would sit next to him with a clipboard keeping track of the fouls so you know when you guys are in
Yep.
foul trouble and shit. Yeah. Ooh. That's old time, baby.
When I played, we had graduated at that point to 3 coaches.
Yeah. That's a
on the
lot.
bench, and no coaches behind the bench. They have an army of coaches behind the bench now.
Yeah. Oh, geez. It's like
you-
a choir, you know?
Oh, it's incredible.
It's like a
They-
church choir. You know?
They have more coaches and players now.
They actually a few years ago when Cuban owned the Mavericks, at one point they had more coaches than they had players.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was the one that started it, but his point was very valid. Look, these are my assets. They're my most valuable
Yeah.
assets. Let's make sure they have everything they need to compete at the highest level.
The best airplane.
Best airplane, best hotel, best accommodations, best weight room, best training staff, best dietitians, best everything. And then if they don't do it, then I'll get on their ass. But I don't want to leave them saying, well, if we only had this. And then since that point, the league kind of fell in line.
Yeah.
And I mean, it makes sense to me because they are your most valuable assets.
Yeah.
Back in the day, it was like, even when I played, we actually, now the players today would laugh at this. We actually had to use our per diem to get food. These guys get per diem and never have to use it. Ever.
Oh, you see the post game spread
Oh, it's
in an NBA game?
I
Oh my
tr-
God! It's like, geez, if I get really rich and I take my wife out to a once in a year dinner, maybe we can eat like
Maybe.
this, man. You know, lobster and steak and shit. And
they
these
have
guys
it
just-
after every game
Oh,
during
every
the
game.
playoffs.
Right.
We go to some of the most magnificent restaurants during the playoffs, and then
Yeah.
even if it's not a game day, they would have a ballroom set up that would have food most hours of the day.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to walk in there and grab like an omelet, or you wanted to grab a sandwich prepared, specifically for you or
Yeah.
whatever, you were good. Like no one, you get like $200 a day per diem, and they use it for gambling. Right?
Exactly,
They use it
right.
for playing cards, Tonk or whatever they play. Never played that game, but I know it's one of the games they played. Yeah, back in the day, we're like, we got $90. We're like, okay, how are we gonna stretch this? Let's see. Maybe maybe let's skip lunch. Let's have breakfast and we'll go out to a decent dinner.
Right.
And
Yeah.
and then we'd play credit card roulette.
Oh, where you throw all the credit cards in. And
Everybody'd
the
stick
loser
their credit
pays?
card in the hat.
Yeah.
You keep picking them out, and the last one in pays. And I got stuck with I was a rookie. I got stuck with a $1,300 bill at
Ooh, that's a lot of money. Then.
yeah,
That
sushi
was like-
restaurant up in
that was
Seattle.
1/10 of your salary.
Oh,
man. Shit.
it killed me. You know what killed me more than that is that Alton Lister was so happy. I was like, "You've been in the league 10 years. Like, yeah, I can't afford this. What are you laughing at?"
Yeah.
I was like, "You got to be kidding me!" And Alton Lister was the one guy that would bring Tupperware to practice. I'm like, "What's that?" Oh, my chef, I got a chef. He makes it for me.
Oh.
And well, and you're like, well, you can't afford this meal.
Right.
Like you should have said,
Yeah.
Tom, I got
It's on
this.
me,
No, you're a
bro.
rookie.
Yeah.
We got it. No, fucking ASU guys. Never trust those ASU guys. All right. So again, let's get to the Bay Area.
Okay, let's
How
move.
did you go from the Times to the Chronicle? Like, talk about that process and how you decided you wanted to. Is it like a free agent recruitment type deal? And how'd you decide to come up here?
Well, sort of. What happens? I'm at the LA Times, and I forget the year. It's close to 40 years ago now. A new paper started. It was called the National.
I remember the
Sports
National. I was going to
Daily.
bring. I love the National.
And it was run by a guy named Frank DeFord, who was
yep.
a Sports Illustrated, famous writer. Everybody knew him back then. Frank was a great guy, and it was financed by a Mexican millionaire, a billionaire,
Yep.
who was a TV magnate and everything. And his theory was that a lot of countries like Japan or in Europe, you can go to the newsstand and you can get a sports newspaper, which is nothing but sports.
Yep.
It's just, like a tabloid or something, all sports. And he said, why can't we have that in America? And so he called Frank DeFord and says, let's do it. And he threw a ton of money at Frank, and Frank called me, and I lived in Santa Monica, and he said, hey, can I come into your house? And I said, ooh, Frank DeFord's coming to my house. It's like, Jesus is coming to your house, right? And so Frank comes over and he says, hey, we're starting this thing, and I'd like to have you work for us. And I thought, oh, shit, sign me up. He said, hey, we'll double your salary, whatever. And so, yeah.
You're
great.
like, yeah, it sounds good.
And my wife, at the time I was friends with Lee Steinberg, the famous.
Okay,
agent.
yep.
She says, we got to call Lee and have him negotiate the contract. I said, are you fucking kidding? I'm a sports writer. You don't have an agent negotiate a sports writer's measly. She said, just give Lee a call. And so I called Lee, and he said, well, I'm doing something else. So I'll have Jeff Morad do it. It was his partner at the time.
Yep.
So Morad negotiated the contract for me, and they got him to throw in like a $25,000 bonus, which allowed me to buy a house. We were living in an apartment. So that allowed me to buy a house, which is the reason I have a house now. So anyway, so we started this newspaper, and Frank's thing was, we're just going to have fun. We're going to let it rip, do what you want. And he hired me and Mike Lupica.
Yeah, remember Lupica?
And a guy named Dave Kindred to be the main columnist.
Okay,
And then
yeah, I remember
in
Kindred.
each town, there were columnists, like in San Francisco, Ray Ratto and
Yep.
stuff. So, yeah. Hey, Ratto, can you hear me? He must live.
He may be. Hey, if you yell loud enough, he may appear. You may see him peering over the fence. Well, if he was tall enough, you'd see him peering over the fence. He'd get caught in the grate. Love you, Ray.
So Frank, just says, just do what you want to do. You got some creative chops or whatever. Just let it flow. And so I'd throw crazy ideas at him, and they'd say, yeah. And just like at the time, Andre Agassi was in his asshole phase. He was 18 or 19 years old and doing shit. And I went to the forum once, and Jeannie Buss was there. I was good friends with Jeannie Buss, and she says, you should stop picking on Andre. I said, what do you mean stop picking on him? He's an asshole. You shouldn't pick on him. He's really a nice guy. And I'm sure he is. Sure, Jeannie. Yeah, great. But he's an asshole. Look at he's spitting at umpires and shit like that, chair umpires. And she said, I'll tell you what, why don't you just meet him and you tell me what you think of him? I said, okay, you set it up. I'll meet with him. So he was living in Vegas at the time. So I'm working at the National, and the National says, yeah, sure, fly up to Vegas and talk to Agassi, see what happens. And so I did, and I did a big story on him. And it turned out to be he was a great guy.
Really?
We actually became kind of buddies and stuff like that. But the National would just flow with anything. They just any crazy ideas and stuff like that. And it was a really cool thing. It only lasted, I don't know, a year and a half or something like that, because they didn't do advertising circulation right and all that stuff. But the product itself, man, the paper was great. There was all kinds of shit. We had a guy,
awesome.
There was a guy writing a once a week wrestling column.
Yep.
A real column on professional wrestling, man.
It was the best.
Yeah.
It was the best. I know it seemed to me that distribution was like the main issue. Like, how do we get this to everybody?
Yeah.
And if you could have figured that out, I think you still might have had something, but it was just so hard to figure out how to get it. And from the article, I remember reading, Scott, the problem was they wanted to send it out with the Wall Street Journal, but the Wall Street Journal went out so early that they couldn't send it out that early because the games hadn't finished up from the night before, and they couldn't get the paper turned around and ready to go.
Yeah, they wanted to be a driveway paper, and that never happened. So it became a news rack paper, and some towns that's okay, but L.A. that's not going to fly, and San Francisco probably
Yeah.
not. It was hard to find it, and man, if you found it, there's still people that would just. It became a cult
Yes.
newspaper because we had cool Norman Chad.
Norman Chad.
He was like their discovery man. He was out of nowhere and he did all. I read him and think, this guy's crazy. Man.
Norman Chad of World Series of Poker.
Yeah, but a really funny guy. I've never met him in person.
Yeah.
But a funny guy. But yeah, they just spent way too much money and. So we had Los Angeles. It was headquartered in. Sorry to get off track here.
No.
It was headquartered in New York, right? They had a huge corporate office there, and they had.
But apparently Lupica never came to his own office.
No, he turned out to be a fucking turncoat.
Yeah. Fucking Judas.
He did.
Lupica?
He dumped out. Yeah, he recruited me. He actually flew out to
Did
LA
he really?
one time just to recruit. I
Lupica
was already
did?
sold. Like they're gonna double my salary. You don't have to
Yeah.
talk me into this shit. But anyway, he came out and so I don't have anything against Mike except he really turned on the national. But I forgot where I was going. But yeah, what he did in the end, he just kind of sabotaged the national.
That's
But it was
brutal.
great. It lasted a year and a half. Oh, I was going to say, so they had the corporate office, and then in San Francisco, Los Angeles, and Chicago, I think it was.
I think
They had
you're right.
like satellite offices, and for us down on Pico and Sepulveda, I think they rented this big, huge suite of offices, like 15 offices, with a big pod in the middle, all this stuff. We had basically the whole floor of this nice place in West LA. And there was me and the Los Angeles sports editor and a couple salesmen. And that's all we had in the whole place. We never had
That's
anybody.
it.
It was, if you go in there, it was like, we could have played handball in there, It was, but they were just spending money like crazy. Oh, man, they spent money like nuts. They would take all the salesmen down to Cuba and stuff like that for vacations. And then towards the end, they called up one time, and I picked up the phone. The corporate headquarters called and said, hey, you guys got that Sparklets cooler in there
Yeah.
that has the hot and cold? Yeah, well, we got to change that to cold only because we can save $3 a month. I said, well, that's my coffee, man. So I know we were in trouble, and they folded not long after that. And because when they folded, I was out of a job.
Yeah.
The LA Times didn't want me back. They were mad at me for leaving. And so the Chronicle offered me a job.
And there you
I
go.
said, are you kidding?
That's
I
fucking.
told my wife, says, we got a job offer in San Francisco. And she's like, oh, my God, let's go. It's like our dream city, man.
And we all benefited.
shit.
We all benefited. It was funny. I don't know if I've ever talked about this. It's not hugely entertaining, but you said you had an agent because I'd never had an agent doing my radio deals. I just did it myself. Walked in there, me and Tony Salvador would
I know I heard a good story about that, by the way.
bang something out.
Yeah,
Well,
but you did pretty well, man.
yeah, I did okay.
Yeah.
I had an agent that he was my agent for TV when I was doing ESPN stuff and NBC stuff, and he also wanted to do my radio stuff. I was like, well, I can do the radio, and he goes, well, I'll charge you this much, and it wasn't a high fee, but it was like, okay. He goes, but I want to do the radio deal too. I'm like, okay, and I already had the radio deal done.
Yeah.
I was already done. I already walked in there with Tony and did the deal and everything, and I'm like, okay, look, he just wants to come in and do this, and I told him I'd let him do it, blah blah blah. So he goes in there, and like 3 days later, he goes, I got the deal done. I go, okay, what was it? And he told me the deal, and it was for fucking less than I fucking. I'm like fucking what? I go, excuse me,
Whoa.
what did you just say? I go, well, hold on a second.
Oh.
He goes, and I got him to throw in. Oh my god, oh my god. He goes, I got him to throw in. He goes, I got him to throw in a couple massages for Lori,
Wow.
and
Oh.
and a couple NFL 2K games. I'm like, what? Excuse what? I go, I could have bought thousands of massages and NFL 2K games. I go, what do you do? So I had to go back into Salvador like the next week and go, hey, forget that. Let's just do what we did.
Right.
He goes,
Jeez.
okay. He goes, I kind of figured you'd feel that way. I was like,
Oh.
I go, how does that even happen? We went the other way,
Yeah.
but I got a free video. I got a couple free video games. So that,
I think it was Rado that told me a story about when you were negotiating. You can tell me if
Yeah.
it's true or not. And at the time, it was time you would normally get a raise and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And so they said, Tommy, we're not giving raises out. The times is tough, and we just can't do it. And actually, staying the same, not taking a cut, staying the same
Yes.
is the new
Is the
raise.
new raise,
And
yes.
you said, well, now quitting is the is the new staying.
Yeah. I said fired is the new staying.
Yeah.
I go, I'll talk to you.
Yeah.
And they came back, gave me the raise. they gave me what I wanted. Well, I mean, Tony, and I love Tony Salvador. He's one of my favorites. I mean, he's like a mob boss. He used to give you the look. He like, it's scary almost, fucking like you're gonna get whacked right there, fucking sitting in this. But when we remember when we first got the ticket, and there was the Raiders home station, and they tried to get the A's on the station, but it was basically just a hab. So like 95.7 came around eventually, but it kind of staved off competitors. Like there was 2 radio stations in the market, but Cumulus owned both of them. But it wasn't Cumulus back then; it was Susquehanna, I believe, because Cumulus has done such a fucking bang up job since they've taken over. There was Susquehanna.
They're nice people too. Apparently.
Oh, apparently they're great. The dog's great. Sulu, I think it is. That was Cumulus's mascot, Sulu.
Really?
Yeah, it was fucking Siberian Husky. I'm like, fucking, that's the only fucking dog I never liked. And I mean, I love animals. But they get, and he brought Ralph and I in, and he said, look, we're going to get the ticket. We're going to purchase this radio station to kind of, keep other stations from coming into the market. And we want to have you guys on more. That's when we first started and we were doing really well. Yeah. And he goes, we want to have you guys on against the Giants. Not everyone wants to listen to Giants. So we want to have you guys against the Giants. And Ralph and I are like, it's not going to be that much fun. I mean, we can do it. We'll have fun doing it, but people are listening to the Giants game. So we're like, okay, cool. And so we're just sitting there. And then finally I just said, so like, we're getting more money for this, right? Like we're doing more work. We're going to be on the air more.
Yeah.
And he gave me that like fucking Tony Soprano look, like fucking you motherfucker, you really? I thought you'd be happy to work more. And I go, I am, if I'm getting paid more. I go, that just seems to make sense to me. I go, logically, how does anything else make any sense? I go, the more you work, the more you get paid.
Yeah.
So eventually, like he came around, but when he just looked at me like, I thought you'd be happy. Well, yeah, but it's extra work that we're going to be doing. We're going to be doing here, and that's back. We actually, when the Warriors were terrible, we would stay on 680. They would go to 1050, and the Warriors would get so pissed. And Salvador would tell me, he goes, "What do you want me to do? I can take a show that's getting a 6 and put them on the 1050 for a game that gets 0.1. You guys are on the ticket." That's back, and that ultimately that's ended up. Well, fast forward, that's why the Warriors ended up going to 95.7 because they felt like they were second-class citizens of the Giants, which they basically were for reasons that make sense. Some make sense, some didn't make sense. But yeah, that's what I told him. No. Now that I've thought about it long enough, here's what I said. I remember what I said. I said, I quit is the new good luck. That's what I said. I go, oh, is that a fact? I quit is a new good luck. And I got up and just left. And I think the deal was done before I left work that night. It was over. Ah, fucking Ray. He is an absolute beauty. So you come up here.
Yeah.
What are the differences, like sports fans? I mean, I've lived in both places as well. So I'm very well aware of the differences, like just kind of like stylistically, LA people, the Bay Area people, but what's your take on it after having lived in both places for as long as you did? Just kind of the difference between LA and San Francisco, and more importantly, like what's the difference in the sporting culture here and the sports fans between South and North?
Yeah. Well, people always bag on the LA fans. They show up to games late, and they leave early and stuff, right? But when you look at the attendance figures back when I was a kid and on and up, all the way up, fans would show up, man. Maybe the traffic was bad, so sometimes it was tough to get there on time and all this stuff, and there's that kind of laissez-faire deal. But they showed up, man. The Dodgers were the first team ever to draw 2 million fans, I think.
Yep.
And so even when the teams are okay or bad or good, fans would show up, and they had great ballparks. Dodger Stadium is a phenomenal place to go. The old Forum, before that, the Sports Arena. So there were cool places to go. The fans were there, I remember going to Laker games back in the mid-'60s and stuff like that. And the old Sports Arena, that'd be pretty packed, they were and that was back when the NBA was playing in gyms and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But so LA fans, I'll never bag on them. I think they're very solid. I think they show up when they, but it's kind of similar to up here. Up here, there's more of an edge. There's more of a suffering, especially with Giants fans, because especially the ones that had to put up with Candlestick Park all those years. Those people suffered, man. You didn't suffer. If you went to Dodger Stadium, you might not see a good baseball game. You didn't suffer, man.
Yeah.
You sat there in your T-shirt and had a beer, and oh man, it was phenomenal. Up here, it's like bring 6 overcoats, and so the people suffered up here. So there's more of an edge, and also I always thought it was weird that the people in San Francisco, the sports fans we'll talk about, hate the people in L.A. and hate the teams down there. Well, people in L.A. when I grew up, we didn't hate San Francisco. We didn't hate Willie Mays. We hated the Giants because they, it was a rivalry and stuff. But if you were down in Los Angeles and somebody said, "Hey, I'm going to go up to San Francisco for the weekend," you say, "Oh, that's great, man! You have a great time in a cool city and everything." So we thought San Francisco was cool. But you move up here, and the hate for LA is kind of. I always find that kind of weird.
Well, I always thought that because I grew up a Dodger fan first, and then I switched to the Angels when the Dodgers traded their entire infield, got rid of their entire infield of Say, Russell, Garvey, and Lopes. And I was a Dodger fan because my grandpa was a Dodger fan, and he took me to a couple games. So we'd watch the Dodger games together. And the one thing that always drove me crazy about Angel fans was that you're at an Angel game, and the cheer would be as loud if the Angels scored a run as the Dodgers losing when they announced it on the out-of-town scoreboard. I'm like, why do you care? Go worry about your own team.
Yeah.
And they got the Angels have the little brother complex when it comes to Dodgers, and I think the Giants and the Giants fans have a little bit of that when it comes to the Dodgers, because I remember Giants fans care a lot more about the Dodgers than Dodgers fans care about the Giants.
Yeah,
now
exactly.
It may change. Right. It may have changed a little bit since the 3 World Series, but now that the Dodgers have won back to back, they're back to like, we don't even care about you. We don't even think about you. Do we hate you? Nah, we don't really think about you that much. Now, there's obviously a subsection of fans that do care, but I always felt that way, and I know what it's like, because the A's fans felt that to the Giants. Yeah. Like, Giants fans didn't care about A's fans. No. A's fans hated the Giants. Yeah. But it's like, that's the way it is. Giants fans like, we hate L.A., and like L.A. fans are kind of like, whatever. Right. we don't really give a shit. All right, so you get up here, and I got to ask you, because I think, what year was it when you came up to... So was it 92, 93, 94?
Give me all these questions about years.
Well, I'm wondering, were you here when I was playing?
Yeah.
Okay, you were.
I was either here. I remember talking to you a couple times when you were playing. So it was either I would take a trip up here to do a story on TMC or something like that.
Okay, yeah.
So, but it was right around that time. But,
what do you remember? I mean, what do you remember? What are some of your favorite memories of Nelly?
Oh, man.
Because Nelly's like kind of the last of the like great coaches that you also have great stories about. Like, again, we talked about that to start the show. We just don't get that anymore, but he was just such a beauty.
He when I first moved up here and he was the coach, and I would get these letters from people saying, "Why do you guys in the media are always kissing Nelly's ass? I'm being nice to him and everything like that." And I hadn't really thought about it, but when I thought about it, is because the guy was fun to be around.
Yeah.
I don't know if he was a great coach or not. I didn't really evaluate that. The team wasn't great. They have struggles, but he was an entertaining guy to be around, interesting guy to be around, and he would interact with you, as opposed to some coaches who just kind of go on remote. Yeah. And so Nelly was great, and then when he came back for the second time, it was like he was even more so. He just did. Like I've told this story one time. Do these little pregame things. Now they're big formal things in an interview room and all that stuff. But the pregame chat with the coaches, the media and the coaches, and Nelly would usually do it in a little office. I know it was his office, a little tiny office by the locker room, and there'd be 4 or 5 writers in there. And one time, somebody asked him about Andres Biedrins, who at the time was 19 years old or something like that, 19 or 20. And well, how do you think Andres? And he was doing pretty well at the time. And Nelly says, "Oh man, Andres is doing great, man. He's especially for a kid. He's only 20 years old. And man, when I was 20 years old, I still hadn't had my first piece of ass." And Raymond Ritter, the PR guy, was just, oh my God, hey, yeah, I guys don't write that. Yeah, like we're gonna write that, Raymond. But yeah, that was Nelly. He would tell. Oh man, would tell stories. I remember he used to have. Were you ever at his place in Lake Merritt?
Yes.
Yeah,
The penthouse.
The penthouse.
Yep.
That was phenomenal. He had like a 15-story apartment building or something,
Yep.
like whatever it was. But he had the entire, not only entire top floor, but the roof and all that stuff out there. So it was like he had his own grounds and stuff, and he had his man cave out there where he'd smoke his cigars and stuff
Yep.
like that. But he had us up there one time for a party for Ron Bergman, birthday party.
Okay.
So that the coach is throwing a birthday party for a writer. That's a pretty weird thing, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, but Nelly was telling stories, and he just loved to tell stories about the old days. And I remember I was a Laker fan when he played for the Lakers for a couple of years.
That's right.
Before he went to the Celtics.
Before he went to
But
Celtics,
Nelly
he
was
broke their
Nelly
heart.
was great. After he retired, my wife and son and I were on vacation in Hawaii, and he had just retired a few months before or something. And she said, "Hey, you should go look up Nelly and do a story on Nelly in retirement, how he's doing." Hey, that's a good idea. Why? I don't think of this shit. I don't know. I'm on vacation, so I call him up, and I'm not portraying that Nelly and I are great friends or anything like that. I was just a media guy, and he said, "Yeah, come on over." Yeah, so he lives in this town called Paia, which is near the
I've
the
stayed at
airport.
his house.
Yeah, it's got
Just took care of his
Which
dogs.
house? The place in Paia? Paia?
Yeah, the place in Paia.
Okay. So he's
where
got this place
yep,
in Paia, and it's a huge, right
compound.
on the water.
It's a compound.
Right, it's
Yeah.
huge, like 7 beds, 6 bedrooms, or something
Yep.
like that. But right on the Pacific Ocean, he owns like a block of the ocean, man.
Yep.
And so I think I did this a couple times, but one time I went over there, and I'm talking to him, and first of all, he's got his ganja.
Yep.
And, he's, yeah, help yourself, whatever you want. You want some wine,
Help
beer?
yourself.
Yeah. So I'm talking to him one time, and he gets a phone call, and he says, "Oh, wait, okay, I got to go. That's Willie Nelson, because they're neighbors. Willie
Yep.
lives like a block,
Oh, really? That close?
about a mile, a couple
Okay.
miles down the street, towards the airport."
Yep.
And he said, "So that's Willie, and he just got into town. He wants to play poker tonight, so I'm going to go over there and play poker." And he said, "Come on down, and you want to stop in for a while and kind of watch us play and stuff like
Yeah.
that." So okay, I went down to Willie Nelson's house. And this big old guy with a big beard and stuff, and he's getting out the pizzas and stuff like that, and he's, I guess, Willie's guy, and he comes over and says, "Hey, my name's Mudslide." Okay. Okay.
He's named after a TGI Fridays.
I don't
drink.
have any friends named Mudslide, so I thought it was cool. But
Most of us don't.
so Willie's there, and Snelly and like 3 or 4 other guys that are buddies from the island. They play all the time when they're all together. And Willie looks. This is like I looked it up. It was like 10 years ago.
Yeah, that was the rabbit.
Oh, okay. Willie looks like he's
and there she goes.
Willie sits there. He looks like he's about 2 feet tall.
Yeah.
And he looks like he's 112 years old. But was a very nice guy. But Nelly told me, he said, when we go down there, I'll introduce you to Willie, but don't tell him what you do because he doesn't like journalists. So, okay, I won't tell him I'm a sports writer. So I'm to watch him play poker and everything. It's a very low key game. And,
Yeah.
and I tried to engage Willie a little bit in conversation, but he did. But he's not a real talkative guy when he's playing poker. So anyway, at one point he fires up one of his big,
Blunts.
sausage size,
Sausage.
about the size of this microphone, right? and he passes it around. Of course, I took it. I don't want to be an ungracious
Of course,
guy, right?
exactly.
So
When in Rome.
yeah, so it came by a couple times, and that was all it took, man. That was I know pot now is much stronger and everything, but Willie had a supersonic grade of this stuff.
Did he?
Man. Ooh, it was. And so at some point, then I had to leave and drive back to the other side of the island where I was staying.
Oh, gee.
That was a long drive, and I was
Dark.
Thinking, I was thinking, please, what are you thinking? You're thinking, please don't let there be a cop.
Yeah.
So I'm looking behind me. There's a cop driving. He's following me. I'm thinking, I'll just jump out of the car and just say, look, just take me in. I have no business being even walking, let alone driving. So, fortunately, I didn't get stopped. So somehow I made it back. On the Angel's wings, I made it back to the other side of the island. Yeah, but and Nelly was a super entertaining guy, and I thought it was interesting when he won the coaching award like 2 years ago, the Chuck Daly
Yeah.
Lifetime Coaching
Uh-huh.
Award, and it was in Dallas, and so I did a phone interview with him before, and he was talking, and he had not too long before I had gone completely off alcohol, which I think he'd been off alcohol for a long time. He
Yeah.
switched over to pot,
Yep.
heavily into pot. He'd gone completely off pot, so he was like cold turkey and all this stuff. And this is unfortunate, but some people when they do that, they're not as much fun.
Yeah.
That's a terrible thing to say, but But Nelly, I was talking to him in the interview, and he was just laughing, joking, telling stories and everything. I thought this is cool. The guy who's gone cold turkey, not smoking and drinking. He's still Nelly. That's Nelly. He was laughing about shit and bagging on people and stuff.
No, he was great.
I remember one story you told me that he was tough on rookies,
Yes.
and so when you're a rookie, he was giving you shit and God damn it, Tolbert.
God damn it, Tolbert.
So you told him, why don't you just have my paycheck signed to God damn it, Tolbert?
I did. I actually went to the controller and said, could they make it out to God damn it,
Oh
Tolbert?
man, you could have kept that, framed that sucker.
Oh, that'd have been a beauty. Absolute beauty. Yeah, we're over in his game room, his house in Paella.
Yeah.
Had the game room by the gate, and above the poker table is a picture of him, Owen Wilson,
Yeah.
Woody Harrelson, Willie Nelson, and then some of the other locals
Yeah.
that would play cards with him.
Yeah.
And we sat down because he let us stay at his house. It was me and Lori and all the kids were playing cards. And I think Weston looked up. He goes, "Hey, look at that painting." He goes, "That looks like Owen Wilson." I go, "It is." He goes, "What?" And I go, "Yeah, that's Woody Harrelson too." He goes, "Really?" They didn't know Willie Nelson, but they thought that was pretty cool. And then I think the one guy we saw in the picture was the guy that died, and they kept playing poker.
Oh yeah.
As the ambulance was coming to pick him up.
Right there at the table. Yeah. What are you gonna do? Just,
Nothing.
Yeah.
What can you do?
You'd want us to do it, right?
What can you do? Oh my gosh! But no, he was something else.
I remember at one point, he had the place in Paella.
Yep.
And then the other side of the island is Kihei. And so at one point he built a mansion over on the waterfront at Kihei. It was as grand as the one in Paella. It was really nice, and and so I went and visited him there one time, and I said, "Man, this is really nice. It's too bad you don't have the place in Paella because that place was great." And he said, "Oh no, we kept that one too." He owned half the island. He owns half of Maui.
He owned half of Maui. Yeah. No, he was. Yeah, he did okay for himself.
Yeah.
For a farm boy.
Yeah. Farmer. I remember once he told me he went to school in a one-room schoolhouse back in Iowa, right?
Yep.
And
I think so.
Just first through 12th grade, I guess, all in one room and stuff like. He said, "Yeah, I'd bring a big potato in the morning and put it on the old wood stove, and then at lunch it was all cooked and ready to go, and that would be my lunch." So, I mean, this guy came from nowhere, man. He came from out of nowhere.
That's Hicksville right
the
there.
fact that he became a great NBA coach, that's a nutty arc.
That's
right?
that's amazing.
Yeah.
So I did want to ask you about some of the bigger sports stories that you've covered here in the Bay Area, and one of them was a Warriors story, but not Nelly. It was P.J. Carlesimo and the famous incident with him and Latrell Sprewell with trying to choke the coach out, and the pictures of the coach with claw marks down his throat, which was crazy.
Yeah.
What do you remember about that story?
For some reason, I guess I was up here then, but I wasn't covering the team that much
Okay.
so I didn't cover that extensively.
Got it.
So I don't have any inside stories on that. So, although I remember Sprewell, I guess after that attack, then he came back out with a 2x4 or something like that.
Yes.
He was going to hit PJ upside the head with a 2x4.
I think he did. Or no, I think that was with Byron Houston.
That was
That might have involved Byron Houston, who is a massive slab of meat. May have ended up may have run afoul of the law at some point. Yeah, trust me, kids. Not all players in the NBA are upstanding citizens.
But that's a great. Sprewell, man. I remember he kept pit bulls in his backyard.
Yep.
And at one point he had like a 3-year-old daughter.
Yep.
And the pit bull attacked her and
Got the ear.
chewed off her ear. And so like a week later or something, media was doing an interview with him. Hey, well, what about it? Must have been tough because you had to put the dog down, right?
Yeah.
He said, "Oh no, we didn't put the dog down. Dog didn't do anything. He was just being a dog, you know."
Being a dog.
Just chewed my daughter's ear off.
We're good. We're good. It's like it's unbelievable.
Oh yeah.
Unbelievable. All right, let me get into a little. What? No, so you were here. You came just at the tail end. So you got the Lakers down in L.A.
Yeah.
You kind of missed the Niners up here.
Yeah.
And you got kind of
I
the
got
tail
that
end.
Steve Young.
You got the
Super
Steve
Bowl.
Young
Yeah,
championship
yeah.
too. What do you remember about those early years with Young and was Walsh had just retired when you came up here,
Yeah,
right?
he was retired. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. What do you remember about those years? Seifert and Young and Shanahan.
Yeah. Young was great. You know Steve Young. I'm sure you've
Of course,
talked to him.
yeah.
He was
He had a
like
friend.
one of the best guys ever.
Yeah.
You put him on this guy has crazy just communication, people skills. He's just a good guy. He fits
Yep.
in anywhere. And so he was great to deal with. So Walsh was gone then, but he was still around.
Yeah.
And so occasionally you could talk to him, give him a call or something like that. And I remember it's weird because at one point the Chronicle took me out of sports and they asked me if I'd do an around town column.
I remember
Kinda
that.
like old Herb Cain used to do and stuff
Yep.
like that. So I did that for a couple of years. But so I was doing that, and out of the blue one day I get a call from Bill Walsh. He didn't call me very often, I get a call. And he said, I was just thinking. He says, you were doing this around town thing. I really like it and everything. But I think you should get back to sports. I think you really belong in sports. That's where you should be. I said, oh, okay, thanks, Bill. And I swear it wasn't 2 days later, the Chronicle called me in and said, hey, we're sending you back to sports. So
You
Walsh,
think he called the
he called it, I guess. I don't know if he had anything to do with it. But
editor or whoever?
he was a very interesting guy to deal with, Walsh. And
Yeah, he was.
He was very, like he was like Jerry West. He was behind the scenes honest. He would tell you all this stuff.
Yep.
Like he said, what do you think about Barry Bonds? I said, he's not a very pleasant guy. And he said, oh shit, I had lunch with him. He wanted to have lunch. And he treated the waiters and the wait staff and everything like shit. He said, I will never have lunch with that fucker again. But yeah, Walsh, really interesting guy. And he wasn't always the sweetheart that
Yeah,
he'd do
none of them
joking
are.
and stuff like that. Exactly.
None of them are.
Right. So he could get down on guys and stuff.
None of them are. I mean, we talked about when Nelly passed. I talked about my time with Nelly and stories with Nelly. And like I love Nelly. I'd love to play for him again. I'm glad I got a chance to play for him. It doesn't mean he couldn't be a huge asshole.
Yeah.
And that's how he kind of like ran his ship. I mean, I've probably told you this story before, but he told Jim Peterson when he traded Ralph Sampson for Jim Peterson. And he sat Jim Peterson down one time, and Jim's body was kind of failing him. And Jim and I were like really close. We were like best friends on the team. We did all our stuff together all the time. And I remember Pete telling me this. He sat Jim down after practice, courtside, and he looked at him straight in the eye, and he said, "Is that all you got?
Wow.
I thought you were better than that when I traded for you. I thought you were going to be better." And like
Jesus.
not the uplifting message you want to hear as
Wow.
a player. So little time went on. Jim was a little disgruntled, and I think he wanted to get traded. And Nelly said, "Would you like to move on?" And he goes, "Yeah." So he brought Jim up with him to his office and called GMs in front of Jim.
Oh shit.
He called Bernie Bicker. Jim tells me this. He called Bernie Bickerstaff. Jim's sitting across from him. And he goes, "Hey, Bernie, how you doing? Yeah, Nelly here." He goes, "Hey, you have any interest in Jim Peterson?" He goes, "He'd like to move on, and I just wanted to have any." "No, for nothing." "Okay, bye." Click.
Whoa.
And he called like 2 or 3 guys up,
Jeez.
and like did it that way. Like, no, not even for nothing. Okay, click. And like, and then he'd look at him and go, "Nobody wants you." And that was it. Like, that was the type of shit
Yeah.
that he would pull.
Yeah.
I mean, he I don't know if I ever told you this, and again, I want to get back to you, but you remember a guy that played for us, John Shasky?
No.
Okay, it's a big center. Brought him in up in Seattle. Olden Polynice took a swipe at Mitch Richmond, and Nelly wanted Shasky to go in there and put Olden Polynice on the hardwood, crack him one. So he put him in there. Didn't really have much of a chance to get him. And at the end of the game, there's this long tunnel to get from the bench to the locker room in Seattle. It was like forever to get there. Nelly got kicked out. We got our asses blown out. That's back when Seattle was really good. Kemp and Peyton and McMillan and all those
Yeah,
big
yeah,
key.
yeah.
So we get to the locker room, and I open the door, and Nelly's standing there, so I kind of make my way around him. No, no, I was behind Shasky. Shasky opens the door. Nelly's standing right there, and he goes, "Did I ask you to do something?" "Yeah." "Did you do it?" "Nope." Because that's the last fucking time I'll ever ask you to do anything. Next day at practice, we do 3-on-2, 2-on-1, which is a fast break drill. 3 guys go this way. Whoever shoots it gets back on defense, and then the other 2 guys that rebound it come at him. So it's 3-on-2 this way, 2-on-1 this way. Somehow Shasky ended up playing defense the whole time during the drill. I don't even know how that happens, but he played defense the whole time during the drill. It was like 20 minutes. I was like, damn, he's just abusing him. So practice is over. Shasky's like pretty much in on every drill, getting the shit end of the stick on every single drill. Nelly calls the team together at midcourt. We're over at Alameda Junior College practice. That's where we practice, Alameda JC. So we get over there, and we're all sitting around, or we're all standing around, and Nelly goes, "Okay, tomorrow, flight to Phoenix. Flight leaves at 5. Be at the airport by 4. And, oh, by the way," he goes, "just go say goodbye to Shasky. I just cut his ass." Shasky's sitting over on the bench cutting off his tape. And I was like, oh my gosh, that is some cold-blooded stuff right there. Like, you just abused him the entire practice and then cut him after
Couldn't
practice.
cut him before the
practice. No. Had to make sure he had somebody to do that and then cut him before. And then we're all standing around in a circle and nobody really noticed. And then we all looked over and there's this poor SOB just sitting over there cutting his tape off.
Jeez.
And I was like, oh my God. That's rough, man.
Yeah.
I go, that could be me one day. that's rough.
Yeah.
Although when he cut me, he brought his pig. He cut me. He let me go with his pig.
Oh, he did?
Took his pig for a walk and then came and cut me.
Wow.
So I did appreciate that. He came to that. So I think.
Oh wait, can we take a quick break?
Yeah.
I gotta.
Yeah. Go ahead. Absolutely. Just go back to the house.
Yep.
And we'll get you all set up again. We'll be back. Do we have our?
Keep my pants. I know what the show.
No, it'd be great for the show, Scott. It'd be amazing. Yeah. All right, we are back. As my good friend Scott Ostler did what my other good friend Tim Roy might call an evacuation sensation.
You make it sound like I had explosive diarrhea or something. It wasn't quite.
No, I didn't. That's not what I said at all. That's what you said. That's why you get paid that's why you're 15-time California Sports Writer of the Year. You come up with that stuff.
Right,
exactly.
Yeah.
I'm not I try to put stuff together here and there if I can see if it sticks. Oh my gosh. All right, so let me ask you about another Bay Area thing that I know you followed. I don't know how much you cover. 'Cause that's a good thing about a columnist, right? You don't have to like cover everything.
Yeah.
You can like pick and choose. But during the Game of Shadows era of San Francisco Giants baseball, you mentioned Barry Bonds. It kind of got me thinking about it. I think that was Mark and Steve Fainaru-Wada, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Fantastic book.
One is Fainaru and one is Fainaru-Wada.
Okay, Fainaru and Fainaru-Wada. Okay, very good.
Okay. Two excellent journalists, by the way.
Very good. Yeah. Very good. Nice guys too.
Yeah.
What do you remember about that era?
Oh.
Of because it was so wild. It was crazy being on the radio, right? Because we're partners with the Giants.
Yeah.
And I just said, look, I mean, I'd always say, I'll tell you this. You don't put on 30 pounds during an off season. You just don't. It doesn't happen that way.
I remember when that happened. He showed up to spring training.
He was massive.
He put on 30 pounds, like 4 months or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, and he's already, pretty well muscle athlete and everything.
Yeah.
It wasn't like he was some
very athletic.
scrawny fucker.
Yeah.
So and I remember thinking, wow, the guy must have really. I'm so stupid. I'm trying to take the guilt off myself for not busting the guy in print, but I'm thinking, oh man, that's great. The guy really hit the gym.
Really worked out.
God damn, and he just. And one of the things I remember is just him and Magic Johnson. You don't cover two of those guys. They're originals.
Yes.
There's never going to be another Magic Johnson.
Yep.
There'll never be another Barry Bonds. That's two guys
Never.
that just jump. And Barry in the clubhouse, as you probably remember, I don't know if you ever saw it. Every guy in the clubhouse gets one locker stall.
Yep.
Sometimes if you're a big veteran or something like that, you're a big superstar, they'll give you an empty one next to it to put your extra shoes and shit like that. So Barry's got like 4. He's got the whole side of the clubhouse. And not only that, at his place, because he's got like 3 guys that come in every day with him, 3 or 4. One guy is a stretcher.
Yeah.
One guy is his nutrition guy. One guy is, I don't know, guy that bones his bats for him. Or
So, he had his flaxseed oil guy.
Yeah.
Gotta have that guy. Who are you? I'm the flaxseed oil guy.
So Barry and it still blows me. I've never seen anything like this in any sport anywhere. At his seat, everybody else has got like a director's chair, just a simple chair. In the old days, it was a stool, like a milking stool. We're in the new days, so you get nice little comfy director's chairs.
I have my Arizona stool upstairs still. Love that stool.
Yeah. Barry's got this giant lazy boy Barca lounger thing. It's just gigantic, one of those things that comes out and massages you and all that stuff. And he's got that, which is bizarre in itself. And he's got this whole entertainment system. He's got a big screen TV right in front of him. He's got his own whole setup there. It's like his whole spa there, and all his guys there with him and everything. And I remember I got an email from a guy once, and he said, my daughter got good grades at school. She's 8 years old or whatever, and she got good grades. So all the kids that got A's got a free trip to the Giants ballpark, and as part of it, they gave the class a tour of the Giants clubhouse. Like they took them in 2 hours before the game, before there was anybody really there or anything like that. So they took these kids in, and he said, so my daughter goes in, and she's kind of curious and everything. So she sees a big chair, and she goes and sits down in it, this big leather chair. And all of a sudden, Barry Bonds comes in and looks at her and says, "What the fuck are you doing in my chair?" Yeah. Now, people say, "Oh, God," and people would write to me and say, "Well, you don't like him because he's not nice to you." And he wasn't. He certainly wasn't nice. He wasn't nice to anybody, including his manager, his teammates, anybody. But I said, that's not the point. I'm not nice to him because his teammates don't like him. He's a dysfunctional human being. It has nothing to do with how he treats me. I don't care how he treats me. I don't go home at night and say, "Oh God, honey, I can't eat dinner tonight. Barry was mad at me today." That was, to me, it was great theater.
Yeah.
Barry Bonds was tremendous theater. Post game interview, just one thing, you couldn't stand behind his big lounger. That was one of his rules. You couldn't be.
Oh, really?
Out of his. No, you can't stand back there. You got to stand. He wanted to.
Oh, you got to be in the periphery.
Yeah.
Okay.
And sometimes he would just sit at his locker. Everybody's waiting, and he would just make everybody wait. He'd look over. Okay, and he'd spend another 20 minutes, oiling his glove or something like that. And then he'd turn around and do a 2-minute interview with bullshit answers. Just a miserable guy,
Isn't it okay you just call, like, I don't know why it offends. I know why, because people get attached to their stars, but sometimes it's like, you're an asshole. He's an asshole.
Yeah.
You can call it like that. I mean, it's okay.
And it wasn't just in the media. It was.
Yeah.
I remember he was going for the home run record. I forget what number and all this stuff, but so he was right on the tail of Aaron. And so the team is playing at Dodger Stadium. And so a bunch of us went down there because it was momentous enough that we were going to travel with him. And so we want to talk to Barry before the game, get his pregame thoughts or whatever. It was a normal thing to do. And so the visiting clubhouse at Dodger Stadium then was like a little tiny submarine, very small and all that shit. So rather than Barry saying, "Oh, we'll go out and do it in the dugout and we'll go out in the field because there's 25 of you guys here," no, he did it right in the. He made us wait in the clubhouse. So all the guys are trying to get dressed and everything, and they can't even get dressed because we got 25 writers in there waiting to talk to Barry. He didn't give a shit. It's like, yeah, I don't give a shit. Inconveniencing, pissing off my teammates. What do I care? As long as I'm fucking with the press, that's the main thing. And then he did the interview right at his locker, and we're just all crowded around, and we can't hear him, and so he just loved to fuck with people.
Look, he was an asshole. He was one of the greatest players of all time. I think people conflate that. They're like, what? Why can't you be an asshole and one of the greatest players of all time?
Yeah,
it's okay.
You can be both.
You could absolutely be both.
Or you can be the opposite way, like Steph Curry, where you can be
a good
guy and a great player.
You could be.
There's all kinds of in-betweens, man.
Exactly. Yeah. People always say, like, "Oh, why can't you celebrate?" And I'm like, "Okay, you can celebrate when you score touchdowns, fine."
Yeah.
I kind of like the Barry Sanders model, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Like you did. And again, you could be an asshole. Like I like Jeff Kent. I'm a huge fan of Jeff Kent.
Yeah.
I think Jeff Kent's probably an asshole. He's just my kind of asshole. It's like, I mean, you can be an asshole just as long as you're like my kind of asshole. Then I'm like, okay, I like you.
Right.
I do.
Yeah.
But I think some players that are great have to have that edge.
Yeah.
To be able to play with. Like they need that to thrive. Like you could have Magic, who wasn't an asshole.
Right.
You could have Bird, who was an asshole. Like I mean, I played against both of them, and Bird was. People talk about Gary Payton, so and so greatest. Bird was the greatest trash talker of all time.
Is that right? Yeah, I've heard that, but
he fucking killed me. Killed me one game. He started off with I thought this was new. I should have known it wasn't. When he looked around the court and he asked Chris Mullin, "You're going to guard me with a white guy?" Like I was like, I go, Larry, I'm just trying to earn a living out here, okay? Easy. And then during the game, I remember him taking a shot. I remember it distinctly. Came off a down screen on the left-hand side of the court. I think his chief probably came and set a screen for him, and he came around, and I trailed it, and he turned over his right shoulder to shoot it. So I jumped up and yelled "shot," just to let everybody, just an old yell shot, let everybody know shot's coming. So I yelled "shot," and he let it go. And in midair, he goes, "Yes, it is." And I turned around, fucking swish. I was like, fucking goddamn guy. And he's like, what are you going to say? It's fucking Larry Bird. I got the Hall of Famer, and I'm me.
Yeah,
so I don't have much of a chance against him. Yeah. But he was kind of an asshole. But I liked him. I still liked him. It wasn't like he was like a bad guy.
Yeah.
He was just an asshole on the court. But that's the way he played and fucked with you when he was on the court. Magic didn't really.
Isn't that weird, though? Because here's Larry Bird from some Indiana. What was the name of the town?
French Lick, I think.
Yeah, French Lick, Indiana. It's a little small town.
Yep.
A little white guy, dweeby guy from Indiana, and he becomes the leading trash talker in the NBA.
Yep.
That's a great art, man.
I think this is my personal opinion, but I believe as a white guy in a predominantly black sport, sometimes you need that fucking edge and to say fuck you because everybody's doubting you.
Yeah.
Can this guy play?
Exactly.
Even Magic tells a story that he saw Larry Bird play and he called his boys and goes, "Yeah, this white boy could play."
Yeah.
Like that was always a thing, right? You're like, "Oh, this white boy could play." Like it was different. Like if you're black, you're expected to be able to play basketball. If you're white, it's like until you show you can play. So I always thought there was a little bit of that edge for white players to prove like, hey, I can play.
Yeah.
And like the biggest compliment, I don't know if other white players would tell you the same thing. The biggest compliment would say like you play like a black guy.
Right.
That and you dance like a black guy.
I know. There's so much that you can't.
Well, maybe you're hung like a black guy, but that didn't happen all that often. But it's one or the other. It was like one of the three that was like a big compliment.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure which one it was. Maybe it was all of them. I'm not positive.
Yeah, there's so much you can't talk about. I cannot, to this day, one of the few things you can't write is that black guys jump better than white guys. Because if you write that, some people are going to think that, oh, you're saying that the only reason black guys dominate the NBA is because they get jump better. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying.
It's so dumb.
I'm just saying, I grew up, I had really good jumping ability.
Yep.
I was 6'1" in high school and I could dunk. And I was.
Hell, that is good jumping ability.
Yeah. But nobody, I remember once I played with these JC guys and we're warming up before the game. And there was a little guy that was 5'7", a black guy.
Yep.
And we're just warming up and he takes the ball, gets a rebound and everything, and just goes, doesn't jump or doesn't take a step or anything. He just goes, 5'7". He goes up and he dunks.
That's tough.
I thought, oh, fuck.
That's tough. No step?
No,
That's
no
a
step.
tough one, yeah.
No. And so, yeah. But you can't write that because you become.
Because everyone wants to, if you write that, like I used to say this, and I said it on the air many times. I said, when it comes to athletes, high-end athletes, black guys are faster than white guys.
Yeah.
Period.
Right.
I go, period. I'm not talking about the whole entirety of the human race.
Right.
Like I'm talking about high-end athletes. Yeah. And if people would argue with me on that, I'd go, okay, who would you bet on? If somebody said you're going to bet $500 on this race, and you don't have $500, you bet on the black guy or the white guy. And if you bet on the fucking white guy, then I'll fucking take your money fucking 9 times out of 10. 9 times. How many fucking white guys have you seen win a 100-meter dash in the Olympics? Fucking zero. How many of them are in the race? Maybe a dude from Italy going, rah, 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 and he fucking gets smoked by Bolt. Not even close.
You remember Carl Lewis was running wild, right? Well, Cal had a track coach. I can't think of his name. Well-liked guy, long-time track coach, and he objected to the fact that people were saying, black guys just are naturally faster and stuff like that. And so he said, I'm going to prove it. I'm going to go out and I'm going to find the white Carl Lewis.
Yep.
And so I wrote a column, and I remember
the white Carl Lewis.
The white Carl Lewis. And I wrote a column, and all I said was pack a lunch. Because of course he never did.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Look,
and the great thing about the NBA, I thought, was the guys would joke about it. Black and white guys would joke about that. You got white man's disease. You can't jump.
Yeah.
So, but it was never a racial
dance
thing or that. We just knew what the deal was.
Because everybody here's what everybody fucking wants to do that pisses me off. When you say like a black guy the black player is faster or a black player could jump higher. Yeah. They try to bring everything else into the equation, and they'll say, "Oh, so you're saying they make it because they're athletic?
Right.
They're not smart enough,
no, we're not
or
saying
they don't work at the game." No. Those are like different arguments.
Yeah.
Those are different discussion points.
Yeah.
We're not saying because if you can jump and you can run, that still doesn't mean you're playing professional athletics.
Yeah.
You still got to work your ass off. You still got to study. You still got to fucking know your shit. And they do that,
right.
For the most part,
exactly.
They're more athletic.
And in fact,
and it's okay.
Some of the black, I remember I went to school. I played against this black guy who was only one school on our team that had black guys, and they had this guy named Fair Hooker, who was a basketball player, and he went on to become a great wide receiver in the NFL at the Cleveland Browns and stuff. But years later, I talked to him, and he had been such a great high school player, and I asked him about that, and he says, in summer league, because I'd play summer league, right? We'd play once or twice a week. And he said, we played 7 nights a week in summer league. We played every day. We pounded. We practiced year round, and so he was not only a great athlete, but he outworked guys
Yeah.
like me. So I'm not, when we say stuff like that, we're not saying, oh yeah, that's.
Well,
the
guess
reason.
what? Look at all the guys
They
that
might
won.
outwork us too.
Look at all the guys that won dunk contests.
Yeah.
Brent Barry's the only one that I can remember is white.
Right.
Look at all the black guys that won dunk contests. But look at all the black guys that have won dunk contests that aren't very good basketball players.
Right.
Harold Miner wasn't a
Yeah,
very good
right.
basketball. I can name a whole bunch of guys that have won dunk contests.
And look at the guys that Magic
That were-
Johnson, Steph Curry that can't jump,
Klay
can't
Thompson.
run.
Klay
Right.
Thompson wasn't great. He wasn't a great athlete. Steph, Magic, great players.
Yeah.
Absolutely great players. But again, when you say one, like I try to tell people, when I say this, don't bring this into that
don't.
argument.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying is this.
Yeah.
That is it. If I say, like, I think black athletes are faster.
Yeah.
Like, if white guys were faster, they'd probably play cornerback more often. How many fucking white corners do you see? Jason Sehorn took him to the death. No, we got two white guys, actually. We got Riley and we got DeJean from Iowa. Because if you're a white cornerback in the NFL, you got to come from Iowa. You just fucking, it's a given.
Yeah.
It's a rule now.
Yeah.
Where you from? Iowa? Okay, you can play.
All right.
You can fucking play. But that's okay. I mean, it works the other way too. Like when I talk about the great serial killers of the 70s, they're all white. So I'm fucking killing white guys. Like, hey, sorry, white guys. You fucking you
they're
got to
mostly,
own that.
And
You
they're
gotta
mostly
own
women. No, they're men. They're men. That's right.
You got to own that shit.
Yeah.
It's fucking us. I mean, that's fucking us. We fucked it up.
Yeah.
Where's all the fucking minorities when it comes to serial killers? They're not there, are they?
Yeah, no.
Fucking white
They're not-
guys.
they're not pulling their
yeah,
weight, man.
exactly. Fucking let's go. You got to fucking help us
Help us thin the herd, man.
Help us out. Help a brother out. You're fucking killing me. Anyway, that kind of sidetracked us there
yeah.
for a second. Let's talk a little bit about how much interaction do you have with Bochy when he was here?
Not a lot. I never got really close with him, and I think maybe because I'm not a big ripper in print.
Okay.
I'm not one of
Yeah.
those guys. I'll tell you what's wrong with this team. I'll tell you what Bruce Bochy did wrong. But I would occasionally take things. Like I have this thing, if you hit a home run, you should be in the lineup the next day.
I agree with that.
And Bochy would always, if anytime a guy hit a home run, he'd be out of the lineup. So I'd write little things like that. So I think it pissed him off. So I don't think he ever really warmed me. Warmed to me. He wasn't a bad guy or anything like that. But for instance, I don't remember ever calling me by name.
Really? No Scotties?
No.
No Scotties.
So, which is fine. But we just never really bonded.
Who would you feel like you're the closest with as far as coaches in the Bay Area?
Probably Dusty Baker.
Dusty?
And
I
Kurt,
love
and
Dusty.
Kurt to an extent, because
Yeah.
Kurt's different than Dusty, but there's nobody like Dusty. He's his personality is so universal. Everybody loves Dusty Baker.
Yeah.
I don't know how much you've had interacted with
He
him.
even made you root for the Astros a little bit when the Astros were
He
cheaters.
did.
I couldn't fully get
Nobody
behind
could have
it,
pulled that off.
but
except
he
Baker.
made you kind of like, it's the Astros, but it's Dusty. I kind of want to see Dusty win.
Yeah. I covered him when I was covering the Dodgers back in L.A. in 79.
Left fielder.
80s.
Yeah.
He was there, and he was one of the bright lights because it was basically a team of assholes.
Was it really?
Yeah. Davey Lopes and
Oh,
Ron-
Lopes was an asshole too?
Oh, yeah. Ron Say.
Say was an asshole, the Penguin?
Yeah.
Damn
He
it.
was just kind of
They're
a sour
all
puss. He was kind of a
assholes.
sour puss.
Jesus.
But Bake was great. Dusty Baker was great. You would
Yeah.
always talk to him just like he is now. He's just he just understands people. He likes people.
Yeah.
He's good with people. He's a really good, just a good soul, man. He's just
Was Steve Yeager an asshole?
Yeah, he was kind of ridiculous.
God damn. The whole team was assholes.
they were-
Jesus.
I told the
Can't get one
story
good one.
the other day, but Lowell Cohn,
Yep.
another columnist in the Bay Area, he told me the story. He's working in the Bay Area. He goes down to L.A. and he's just new into columnizing in the newspapers and stuff, so he didn't know all this stuff.
Yeah.
Goes in the Dodger clubhouse and he wants to do an interview with Reggie Smith.
Reggie Smith.
And so
Was
he
it
gets
the toy cannon?
What?
Was that the toy
No,
cannon?
that's
Jimmy
Jimmy
Wynn.
Wynn.
Jimmy Wynn, that's
Yeah.
right.
Reggie Smith was a really, really super athlete guy.
Yeah,
and
I
really
liked
good-
Reggie.
Really smart guy and well educated and everything, but just a red ass. So Lowell Cohn wants to sit down 5-minute thing with
Yeah.
Reggie Smith. So he gets the PR guy to intercede with him. He said, "Hey, can
Yeah.
you introduce me to Reggie Smith?" And stuff. Normally you just walk up and introduce yourself, but Lowell didn't know. So the PR guy says, "Yeah." Reggie's sitting in his locker, and PR guy says, "Hey Reggie, this is Lowell Cohn. He'd like to do have an interview with you." And Lowell tells me, he says, Reggie didn't look up or didn't turn his head or anything. He kept looking at it and says, tell Lowell Cohn to go fuck himself. Didn't know him. Didn't know who he was. Or, But they had some, Actually, I got along with Garvey pretty well.
Did you?
Yeah, he was one guy you could always talk to and stuff like. But years later, I don't know. I saw him a few years ago, and he looks at me and he says, "Yeah, I guess we all do get gray hair sometimes." And his hair is all dyed to shit. And all
Yeah,
this
it
stuff,
is dyed to shit.
Yeah,
God dang, so the entire Dodger team are assholes. How about that? I can't wait to tell Steve Kerr.
there were a few on there. Fernando was there, and he was great. He was okay.
I love Fernando Mania.
Yeah. I discovered Fernando, right?
So you got Riley his job, and you discovered Fernando. How'd you discover Fernando?
So, I was working at the LA Times and doing feature stories, and I said, "Hey, why don't you let me go down to Mexico, float around for a couple weeks, and I'll do some stories on the Mexican League baseball. It's kind of a fascinating world, right?" And so I speak like 5 words of Spanish or whatever, but so I take off and I go down there. Then in Mexico City, I meet this guy named Mike Brito, who's a scout for the Dodgers. And he says, "Oh, man," he says, "I got to have you meet this guy. I'm going to sign him tomorrow. He's going to pitch tomorrow. His name is Fernando. He's like 18 years old. And he's a phenom, man. He just has these phenomenal curves and stuff."
The screwball.
Yeah. He didn't have a screwball then.
He did. No screwball.
Curve, which in Mexico City is mile high, so you can't throw curveballs there.
Oh, okay.
But he was still throwing curves. And so Brito introduces me to Fernando that night, and we do a little quick interview with Brito doing the translating. And a very quiet, shy kid, I think he was 17 or 18 at the time. And very slim, by the way, very. And so he's pitching the next day, and I sit with Brito at the game, and Fernando mows the other team down, just throwing these big fucking curveballs and stuff like that, and mows them down. And later on that same day or the next day, Brito signed Fernando to a contract, and that later on he's, they call him the minor leagues, and like a year later he's in the big leagues and stuff. But so yeah, I discovered him.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
I'd never seen anything like it. I've never seen anything like Fernando Mania. It was the wildest thing. Like, it was almost a Mexican holiday every time
it was.
Fernando pitched, and he was so good. I want to say he started out 8-0. He had a screwball, which I'd never heard of before. Like, so think of a screwball as basically a lefty throwing almost like a two-seamer that breaks the opposite, the opposite way.
To the right.
It was bizarre. He had the eyes going up into his head. Yeah. He could hit. He was a good hitter.
Yeah.
I mean, he was just.
Yeah.
It was.
And he came from nowhere.
Nowhere.
He came from this little town where he had like a house with a dirt floor and no running water and stuff like that. And a couple years later, he's in the big leagues.
And it was wild, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Fernando Mania.
Yeah.
Fernando Mania was so good.
He lit the place up because, there's a heavy Latino population in L.A. And, oh, my God, they were just waiting for that guy. And it was a cool thing.
The flags were flying, and they were on fire. And I remember that. That was awesome.
Somebody looked it up recently, and I swear I'm not trying to take credit or anything, but apparently I coined the phrase Fernando Mania. So
you did.
Yeah.
So you discovered Fernando.
I did.
You got Riley. You got Riley his job, and you coined Fernando Mania. Okay, we're gonna come to find out. Urban was Urban until you named him Magic, and that's how he got the nickname.
I said Urban was a little too cornball. I said, let's come up with something better for you here. The only guy I ever nicknamed was Mel Turpin. Remember him?
The Big Dipper.
Yeah, no. You remember what his nickname was? He was a big fat guy.
Was it Dinner?
You're close. You're getting there.
Dinner plate? No, that was the dinner hot plate.
Dinner Bell.
What? Dinner Bell Mel.
Dinner Bell Mel.
Dinner Bell Mel.
The only nickname I gave a guy that actually stuck.
I'm sure he loved it.
I'm sure he did.
Dinner Bell Mel.
I was talking to Jerry West years later, and he mentioned Mel Turpin. He said, Mel Turpin. He says, you know what they call that guy? I said, no. Dinner Bell Mel. Isn't that great? And I said, yeah, that is great.
You had it.
Yeah.
You had it all along.
Yeah.
Hey, Matt, you want one more?
Yeah.
You sure?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. 2 more. Okay, let's get to
all right.
Let's get to some Warriors.
Okay.
Because I know you love basketball.
Yeah.
And just your thoughts on
I don't
this.
know anything about it, but
No, yes, you do. You're because you've seen bad Warrior basketball.
yeah.
You've seen exciting Warrior basketball. 08, 07, 08
Yeah.
was
Including back
we
when you
believe.
guys were playing.
Yeah, we were fun. Run
Yeah,
TMC was,
right.
was
That
fun.
was
We
great.
won it. We won at home.
I was happy with that back then. I was thinking everybody's got you can't win the fucking championship every year.
Yeah,
And you guys, what you had here, I was down in L.A. when some of that stuff was breaking. I was thinking this is a pretty cool thing they got
Yeah.
going here.
Well, now Warrior fans think they're supposed to win it every year. they've gotten a little spoiled.
Whoa.
I'm going to tell them go watch the box set of 1998. Enjoy that year.
You know, some of these people you want to take them aside and say, "Oh, you know that these guys have won the championship before. Really when? You know, they don't remember that some things have gone on. I know that doesn't last forever, but still, right? Don't you get some credit?
Yeah.
Some
I'm going to let Scott choose. Scott's had the Italian Pilsner. If you liked it, take it. If the other one's a pale ale,
which one's a pale?
the left hand.
Okay, I'll go with that.
Okay.
Yeah,
So let's talk about Steve Kerr,
yeah. Okay.
my buddy,
yeah,
who it's still hard for me to wrap my head around. He's one of the greatest coaches of all time in the NBA. I mean, I think if you're going to go top coaches, you probably go in no particular order: Auerbach, Jackson, Riley, Popovich,
who else?
and those are probably the four big ones.
That might be. Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, it seems like it. Yeah, it seems like we
Right?
covered it. Yeah.
I mean, and then after that, you probably got Steve. I mean, maybe Spoelstra fits in there somewhere. Holzman maybe fits in there somewhere. I don't know. I'm trying to think of the mid '70s. Like who else is like in there?
Chuck Daly was.
Chuck Daly. Yes, I think Chuck Daly's absolutely one of those guys. No, that's a good call. But Steve's like, let's just say in the next group.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's in the maybe he's in the top group. I'm not positive. I can't put him there. I don't want his head to get too big. But it's weird for me because I've known him for 40 years that he's in that kind of august company now. But I mean, what are your? Because he's different. He's a normal guy. He's willing to speak out on different things. He tells you how lucky he is to be able to have this job with these guys.
Yeah.
That it could have gone much differently if he had taken the Knicks job. So he understands like how lucky he is. He's not afraid to give everybody else credit.
Yeah.
Like Nick Uren or the assistant coaches. Like he'll do that.
Yeah.
But from a guy that's covered a lot of sports, a lot of coaches, what were your thoughts on him early on and as they've kind of progressed?
Yeah. Well, they first hired him. Of course, they do the introductory press conference,
Yep.
and they always do that. And you kind of start forming impressions right away. And usually it's just a bunch of bullshit and everything. And there were a lot of cliches and stuff. But he said some interesting stuff, and I thought he was very impressive in his breakout press conference. And one of the things he was saying is he's saying, I think we can do some stuff that will kind of help Steph out. That will kind of release him.
Yeah.
Get him more shot, get him more good shots. That's one of the things we're going to kind of concentrate on. You know, he didn't make a big deal out of it. He never bagged on Mark Jackson, his predecessor.
Yep.
Never did that.
Yep.
He always gave Mark Jackson
Very
full
complimentary,
full credit, which he should have, which was the right thing to do. So good impression, and then right away, just when you deal with him, it's crazy because he's. I talked about Dusty Baker, but it's kind of the same kind of thing. He's just the best guy to deal with from a media standpoint. He's basically doesn't have a chip on his shoulder. He understands what you're doing and what you're looking for and what he can give you and how you can work together. It's not like an adversarial thing.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, here's some guys that dropped in to say hi, basically. You know? And so he'll really work to give you information. And it's weird. Sometimes you want to do a story, do a one-on-one with Steve.
Yeah.
So you'll talk to Raymond and say, hey, Raymond, can I get Steve after practice tomorrow? I said, okay, you can get him. But he's only got 15 minutes because he's got to do an ESPN thing.
Yeah.
So you sit down with him and he talks and talks. And at the end of 15 minutes, he's still talking. And he's in no hurry to go anywhere.
Yeah.
It's just like, you want to talk? Let's talk. Man. We got a thing going here. We got a conversation. Well, let's talk.
Yep.
I don't care about ESPN and that shit. He just does that to everybody. He's super open. He makes the game accessible. He makes the game interesting to people. He just, he's just not hung up on all the bullshit. I remember one time he's wearing like a plaid shirt or something like that, and he comes in the pregame thing, and a bunch of us had plaid shirts, and hey, we should do the plaid shirt club. And he says, yeah, let's take a picture. Let's do a plaid shirt club. Just silly shit. And he bags on Raymond Ritter all the time.
Yes, he does.
And it's just like the guy's a human guy, and it's so incredibly refreshing. But he'll give you, when you sit down with Kerr to do a 15, 20-minute interview on a certain subject, like one time I sat down and I said, I want to talk about Greg Popovich and your relationship with him and how that grew and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And it was fucking fantastic. Just, from the heart.
Yeah.
Stuff, just really good stuff from the heart, not holding back, and you just don't get that from people.
Yeah.
Just, and it doesn't happen all the time. Not going to say this happens every day. Once in a while I'll text Kerr, there's something will happen. I'll say, hey, what do you think about this? And, he'll text back, and he's sometimes got a goofy kind of, it's like your college buddy or something.
Yeah.
Like that, which he is with you.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but he just, he'll just let it fly, and
yeah. No, he's
comments about give you kind of off the record shit.
Yeah, he's such a normal. He just is.
I know.
He's my.
Yeah, he's.
So let me ask you this,
normal.
because now I don't want to get kind of deeper into the Warriors and Steph and all that, but I wanted to ask you this when we were talking about Barry, and now that we're talking about Steve. I'll ask, because Steve's very outspoken about certain issues.
Yeah.
Gun violence is particularly near and dear to him for obvious reasons. Anybody that knows anything about Steve, his father was assassinated back in the 80s in Beirut. So like anything having to do with gun laws, gun violence, gun control, he's very pro that. But he kind of got caught talking about a bunch of other stuff too. Like kind of like, hey, well, if I'm going to talk about this, I'll talk about this.
Right.
And I think ultimately
he wore the Harvard T-shirt or something like when Trump was
Exactly.
trying to shut down Harvard.
Exactly.
Making a statement. Yes.
Yeah, I think ultimately what got a lot of those guys was unfortunately when Maury tweeted about Taiwan and China.
Yes, right. Yeah.
Then everybody's like, okay, now what do you? And they're like, oh shit.
Now that's our money.
Because now the owners are like,
shit.
no, we don't
Yeah.
want you talking about this. So
Yeah.
it's like you kind of get caught. Like, I know this is the right thing to talk about, but I can't talk about it. So it kind of cut your legs out. So I kind of think what he decided was, look, I don't know everything about everything. I know I'm passionate about the gun control, and this is what I want to follow.
Right.
This is what I'm going to talk about.
Yep.
My point here, and it's a long way of getting around it, is I think people who follow the Warriors and follow Steve feel like they know a lot about Steve.
Yeah.
I felt like we kind of got to know Barry Bonds, whether you thought it's a great ball player, asshole, didn't care.
Yeah.
I think we kind of know through wearing his MAGA hat, like who Nick Bosa is, stuff like that. We know who Colin Kaepernick is, who taking the knee and doing all that kind of stuff. How much should we care what these guys are off the field, off the court? Should we be invested in that? Like, I know it's a personal thing. Like, maybe you want to know who you're rooting for. Maybe you don't. Maybe you just kind of want to like watch the games and see what happens. As long as look, as long as no one's a felon. I don't want a fucking serial killer running around out there going, look, I know he's a serial killer, but he won me my fantasy league. Like, I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
I'm okay with how many people? 9?
Yeah.
Fuck, that's not that many. Like, he fucking get another touchdown for me. Like, how much do you think people should
Might have
care?
been 8. The one guy they weren't sure about. Yeah.
DNA's pending. Okay? How much should we care? How much should we care about what our athletes, who they are, and whether we're going to just... Because I've always said this, Scott. If you knew everything about every athlete, you would never have a favorite team. You wouldn't
hate them all.
You wouldn't even follow sports. You're like, I hate sports. I don't want... How much should we care?
You see what he did to his neighbor the other day? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think we should care because I think it's an important part of the deal. I remember even when I was a kid, I would like to know things about the players and stuff like that and try to, I wonder what they're really like and stuff. So I think it's important. And so we have to be careful when we're covering them. We don't want to just, the guy was rude to me, so I'm going to just write a big story about the guy's an asshole or something like that. You don't want to do that. You have
Which people have done.
Right.
Yeah.
I know. You have to kind of temper it. But I think that's a huge part of it. And the political thing has become, obviously, in the last 10 years or so, has become much different.
Yeah.
It used to be, I didn't give a shit about any of that stuff. I didn't know who the Speaker of the House was.
Neither did I.
And now I know all this stuff because it's all of a sudden it's become much, much more important. So, it matters what Nick Bosa thinks and what some of the other 49ers think. So that's unfortunate to me. That's because it's become a big dividing issue. But But
do you set political? Because I know I've read your stuff, and I know where you lean politically.
yeah,
Probably the same place I am. Probably center, maybe a little left, but right at the center. Uh, I try to use common sense. Not very common in politics anymore, but you try to use common sense when it
yeah,
comes to stuff. How much does that sway you one way or the other? As long as like people aren't fucking nut jobs. Like I say, take a football field.
Yeah.
I think most of us live between the 20 and 25 yard line middle.
Yeah.
The nut jobs are on the outside there.
Yeah.
There's going to be all sorts of them. So whether you're left, you're right, whatever, as long as you're within the 20s, I'm fine. That's cool with me.
Yeah.
Does it affect you, like rooting for people or watching people, or are you like me, like, as long as you're close, we're good, but either way, crazy's either side, then I'm like, nah.
Yeah. It never did, like I said, 10 years ago, if guys were right wingers and I'm a left winger, and
Yeah.
it was all kind of shades of gray and stuff like that. But now it does. It matters to me. Like,
Does it?
I find it hard to root for Nick Bosa, for
Do you?
instance. And he's one of the better guys to deal with. I'm not telling you from my experience,
Yeah.
but from what the beat guys tell me, Eric Branch and the other guys
Yep.
tell me, that he's the guy you can go to, and he can tell you really real stuff and everything. He's a good guy in that respect. But it bugs me, that stuff bugs me, and I have to put it aside because, that just can't be part of the narrative. When I'm writing about a football game and I'm talking about Nick Bosa, I can't say I'm not going to write about him because he doesn't have the same political beliefs I do. So,
But is it enough for you to say, I don't want to? Like, if you were a fan of a team, would it be enough to turn you off on that? Like, I'm not a fan of that team anymore.
it definitely would be.
Would it?
Like with the Giants when they did the Pride Night fiasco.
Yeah,
When the four guys from the bullpen,
yeah.
three of them wore the cap and
One just wore his regular cap.
Yeah, and that I would have a hard time rooting for those four guys. Not that I root for the team, but
Yeah.
I'd like to see the Giants do well.
Yeah.
It's fun when they do well.
Yeah.
But that's hard to. It's hard to put that stuff aside.
That was the Giants almost couldn't have handled it more poorly than they handled it. It really, from not letting Posey talk to not.
Wait a minute. You say not letting him talk?
Okay, my bad.
Okay.
My bad. Him not talking.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah.
That's probably more accurate.
Yes. The whole thing was.
The whole thing was a mess.
And it was so silly to me because what any of those people could have done, Larry Bear,
Yeah.
could have Posey, and Tony Vitello included, could have come out and just I'll give them the wordage here. It'll be close enough. Look, what happened the other night? Some mistakes were made. We broke some rules in terms of the cap. We should have been on top of that because you're not allowed to write on the cap. So we should have told our guys that if they don't want to participate, they can wear the other cap if they want. But we just want the whole community to know, the whole Bay Area to know that we support the LGBTQ community. We're behind them. That's why we have Pride Night, and we think it's great, and we think they make our Bay Area a wonderful place and all that stuff. And we know there are people who disagree with that certain thinking along those lines, and we respect that. But basically, we came to honor these people, and we'll continue to do that. And
that's it.
It's simple. That's it. That's all you got to say.
Simple.
Instead, it's like, oh, I can't talk about it.
They made it bigger than it needed to be.
Way bigger. Yeah. It's just,
What they did.
And they should have been on top of from the beginning. And knowing what was going on, they should have had somebody checking the caps before they went to the.
They should have told the team, look,
Yeah.
Pride Night's tomorrow night. Here's the caps we're wearing. If you don't want to wear them, wear your regular caps. Period.
Right.
Because then
Right.
baseball had to come out
Yeah.
with you're not supposed to write stuff on your hats. But guess what happened? Remember I'm sure you do, the huge earthquake they had down in South America.
Yeah.
There was a lot of, I think it was Argentina.
Right.
I think they had the big earthquake where there's a lot of players who have family in Argentina.
Yeah.
They wrote notes on their hats
Yeah.
to them saying, hey,
Right.
I love you. Hope everything's going
Right.
well. Because they can't get down there and see them. It's the middle of, do you think baseball said, hey, you can't write that on your hat? I know it's for fucking people that are trapped in the rubble right now.
Yeah.
But get that off your. And of course they did it.
Right, yeah.
Because that would have been the wrong thing to do.
Yeah.
And that was the wrong thing to do in that case.
Yeah.
But the fucking players had to come up with some stupid ass, like, well, the rainbow means something different. It was fucking great.
Yeah.
Like, who cares?
Yeah.
Like, just then wear the other hat. But that was the team's fault by not telling them,
Right.
look, if you don't believe in this,
We
if
know
this
you
is
have
something-
fucked up religious beliefs.
I won't go there, but I
That's
am
right.
but I am with you on that. I'm probably about as religious as you are. But hey, if we're gonna do this and try to be inclusive of everybody,
Yeah.
it'd be hypocritical to fucking exclude you.
Yeah.
So if you don't want to do it, wear your hat.
Wear the other cap.
That's it.
Yeah.
And we're done with it. Then everybody knows what you stand for.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm all about. I'm like, look, if you want to know who's down with it,
Yeah.
they'll wear the hats. If they don't, they won't wear the hat. Boom, you know. Now you can root for them or not root for them. Who cares? And we can move on.
Yeah.
But the Giants are like just kind of fumbled this whole. It's like, guys, you're making it way tougher than it needs to be on
I
yourself.
don't understand because, I know Buster is not. I can see Buster not being comfortable with that kind of stuff.
Definitely could see that.
Larry Bear,
That's what he does.
That's what he does. And Tony Vitello's new, and I don't know what his philosophical beliefs are, one or another.
Yeah.
But he could have made a very simple statement. He's
Easy.
a team leader. He's the
Yeah.
leader. He could have made a 3-minute little statement, just kind of cool things down. But
Yes.
none of them. It was like, oh shit, what do we do?
Yes. No, I mean, I think what you said was perfect. This is what we stand for.
Yeah.
This is who we want to include. We want to make everyone comfortable.
Yeah.
But by everyone, we have to mean everyone. And if this isn't something that you're comfortable doing, then we allow the players to wear the opposite hats, and they're our teammates, and we move on.
Yeah.
But we want everyone to feel comfortable at the ballpark. And that's it.
Right.
That's just fucking it. Not, oh, I can't talk about it. Oh, I can't. I can't talk. It's like, oh my God. Like, what do we? There's sometimes I just want to say, hey, I got nothing going on. Call me. I can help you out with this shit.
Yeah.
I've been around. I've been doing this for like
That's
40
the thing.
years.
They should have had Raymond Ritter talk to those guys or something.
Yes.
Like that. Here's how you handle the whole situation.
It's not that hard.
No.
It really isn't that hard. You watch teams fucking try to tie themselves into knots. All right, let's get back to the Warriors.
Okay.
I love the fact we get sidetracked. We just have move on, and it's like a stream. Let's go down that. Let's
We're
go
like the Family Guy. They did those little side things, right?
Exactly. Let's go down that branch. Okay, let's come back. Let's go down the main thoroughfare again. The era of dominance, I'll call it, for lack of a better terminology, probably 15 through 2022, I guess, where the Warriors were just unstoppable.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you saw unstoppable basketball.
Yeah.
With the Lakers. They were a great team.
But
This
this might have been another notch.
it may have been another level, although I hate to say that because the rules are different and all that kind of stuff. But if I always say when I'm comparing eras, you can only compare them against your peers.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to compare the Lakers against their peers, they won championships, but they didn't win 73 games and then 67 as well. Like that was another level of dominance when
Yes, it
KD
was.
came
Yes.
over. But what do you just remember most about that era? Because it almost became, I remember everybody said, oh, it's so unfair. I'm like,
Who said
well,
that?
I go, well, a lot of people are like, oh, it's unfair. It's not even like we know the Warriors are going to win. I was like, you might be right, but it's still kind of fun to watch.
Yeah.
It's amazing to watch Steph, KD, Clay, Draymond, all those guys together. But what do you remember about that?
Well, like the first year, I remember that, and they were a pretty good team.
Yeah.
They made the playoffs the year before.
Yep.
Got the second round or something like that.
I think lost to Denver.
Yeah.
Or did they beat Denver? I can't remember.
I can't
I
even-
think it was the second round. Maybe they beat Denver in the first round. They lost in the second.
Yeah.
That's what it was. They beat Denver in the first round. I think they lost to San Antonio in the
Oh,
second
right.
round.
Yeah, I think you're right. But they were a legitimate top 10, 12 team.
Yeah.
Right. They would be in the playoff hunt, right? But to come out of the gate like they did, smoking,
Yep.
and they shocked the world, basically, shocked the basketball world.
Yep.
It was a whole new and different thing that took the league like 2 years to catch up.
Yep.
And just like,
Yep.
holy shit, who are these guys? It was crazy.
That was when they went with the small ball lineup,
Yeah.
and it was
What do they call it? Death lineup.
the death lineup was Steph, Clay, Andre,
Yeah.
Harrison Barnes, and Draymond,
Yeah.
and they would just fucking mow teams.
Yeah.
It was like they couldn't guard him.
With like Andre off the bench and
Yeah,
Sean
exactly.
Livingston. And,
Yep. They
Jesus.
just mowed him.
Yeah.
Mowed him. And then the following year was
how many like the first 2 years, there were so many games where Steph Curry never got off the bench in the fourth quarter.
it was like, yeah, is this guy ever going to play in the fourth?
Jesus.
Because it was like a 25-point lead going into
Right.
the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And then the following year might have been even worse. That was the year they won 73.
Yeah.
which set a record. And then they also set a record by losing the finals up 3-1,
Yeah.
which has never happened before. I told Steve, I go, congrats. You did two things that have never been done before this year. I go, amazing.
Yeah.
But no, and then I've always wanted to do like a I'll never get it done, but I thought a podcast of how 2017 came to be, with KD coming here,
Yeah.
and then going back to like how Steve landed here, how Steph ended up here, how Clay ended up here, like
Yeah.
how everybody made it to this team that was just like one of the greatest teams in NBA history. It'd be really kind of fun, cool, but I mean, it'll never happen, I don't think.
I know so many.
But it's just wild when you look at that team. You're like, look at this team.
Yeah.
They used to have 10-minute spurts and the game was over.
Yeah.
It's just over.
Yeah.
Oh, we have a chance to win. 20-2 run. No, you don't.
Yeah.
It's like, oh shit, what happened?
And people talk about Kerr. Some of the newer jump on the bandwagon
Yep.
critics now, like, I fire the guy and stuff.
Fire
like
the
that.
guy, of course.
Okay. Well, he came in. Steph was already a star.
Yes.
Steph was a star, but the year Kerr came in, he all of a sudden became the MVP. Was a big,
Yep.
being one of the top, maybe 15 guys in the league to MVP. So people not giving Kerr enough credit, I think, for how he changed the offense and stuff like
Yes.
that. How he set Steph free, and obviously he had the right guy to work with. And Steve always acknowledges that I was just a guy. And
Yep.
but what he did for the team, I think I don't think any other coach could have taken me to that level. And I think a lot of times coaches don't make that much of a difference, but I think in that case, he really did make a big difference.
Yeah, I think he did.
And not only the scheme, but the attitude. Of the
Yeah,
scheme.
the attitude. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Because I think you when I look at great coaches in different sports, I'm always like, what do they have in common?
Yeah.
And I always come back to they can lead men and they can get people to understand their value
Yeah.
in a team setting. Like, this may not be exactly what you want to do, and this may not be exactly how you view yourself as a player, but this is best for the team, and ultimately it will be best for you.
Yeah. Classic example, Andre Iguodala.
Andre Iguodala got
Had
him to come
no
off the bench.
business not being a starter.
Yep.
He absolutely
No
deserved
business.
to be a starter.
Yep.
And is still a little bit pissed off about it to this day.
Yeah.
A little bit, And Steve comes in and says, I think we start Harrison and bring you off the bench. It's going to make us stronger. And all right. So Iguodala went. He sold Iguodala on the concept, which was not an easy thing to do.
And
And Iguodala told me early on, he called his agent and said, I think we should talk about getting the fuck out of here.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. And
'Cause
how
it
did
was
it end up working out?
He just decided, okay, I'm gonna give it a try. I'll give it a try.
And then
How'd it work out?
Finals MVP.
Jesus.
It
another crazy.
couldn't have been
Yeah.
any more perfect.
No.
A guy that says, okay, I'll come off the bench,
Yeah.
and then gets inserted into the starting lineup in the
At the
finals after
suggestion
game
out
3.
of some low-level flunky.
Exactly. I think it was Nicky Wren.
Yes, it was Nicky
that,
Wren
that did it.
And I don't mean to disparage Nick by calling him low-level flunky, but
I call
but
him that all the time. No
he was
big
just
deal.
he was Steve's
Yeah.
kind of gopher
Yeah.
and his helper and stuff, right? So he comes up with this thing.
And of course, Steve gives him credit for
Yeah, of
thinking of
course.
that. It's like Steve's like, yeah, he's the one that thought of it. I was like, great. And so I think it was game 3, maybe, or 4. He starts and he wins the MVP.
Yeah.
It's like it couldn't have been any better.
No.
The guy that sacrifices ends up winning the MVP. And I think after that, it became easier. Although Steve has told me it's not always easy to have these discussions with people. Like, hey, this is what's best for the team.
Yeah.
Because they're going to look at it as, yeah, but what about me?
Yeah.
And I think as a coach, if you can find that balance to where you sell the players on what's best for the team is also what's best for you.
Yeah.
And I think coming from him, it carries a little more weight because he was a member of the Bulls teams that won 3 straight. So was Judd Bushler. So was Luke Longley. Maybe there was another one in there that played some minutes. They all got paid really nicely after they left the Bulls.
Yeah.
They could have played the same style of basketball, had the same numbers, and if they'd have done that for Indiana, nobody would have cared.
Right.
They would have given him a contract, but it was not that money. So ultimately, what players have to understand is coaches and organizations value winning. And if you know how to win and you understand how to win, that's going to carry some weight. But the trick is getting players to like say, I trust you.
Yeah.
My numbers will probably go down, but we're going to win more. And ultimately, that's going to benefit me.
Yeah.
Because I think as a player, you still look at this as a job. I have a short time to make money. I want to make as much money for me and my family as possible. How do I do that? Can I sacrifice and get my money and everybody else gets theirs as well? Or do I just want to get my money? And, you know, another tricky situation was Steve putting Draymond in the starting lineup and taking David Lee out of it.
Yeah.
Because remember, Joe loved David Lee. Loved
Yeah. Joe
David
loved,
Lee.
Yeah, David Lee.
That was like one of the first like big free agent signings.
Yeah, one time, one of Lakers kids was talking to David Lee, and David Lee was saying, "Oh man, I went up to Napa over the weekend, and your dad said I could use his house up there, so I went up there. That's a pretty nice house, isn't it?" And Lakers kid said, "I don't know, I've never been able to use it." So yeah, he was super tight with David Lee. But actually, Kerr, one of the things he got handed to him, I thought, was the fact that David Lee got injured.
Yes.
And so he was basically forced to take. He had no choice. David Lee is out, so he forced to put Draymond in the starting lineup.
Yep.
And I'm sure Draymond eventually would have earned his way in there and all that stuff, or would have been part of it. Who knows how that would have worked out? Because David Lee was a pretty good player, offensive player especially. But so that worked out great for Kerr. Just the timing and everything was. You talk about injuries being beneficial. That was an injury that worked out great for the.
No doubt about it.
Yeah.
And then you look at the trade for Bogut.
Yeah.
Who was injured for Monte.
Yeah.
As the story goes, I mean, I don't know if it's true or not, but I've read it a number of times that the Warriors gave the Bucks a choice, Monte or Steph.
Yeah. Whoa.
I mean, there's so many moments in life, right?
Well, like when they went to trade Klay Thompson away for
Kevin Love.
But they were also going to throw Draymond in.
Yes, they were.
So.
Yes, they were. Yeah. And that was kind of a split, from my understanding. That was kind of a split. And a lot of people said, you know, Jerry West was the guy. It wasn't just Jerry. I think Jerry was a guy that wanted to see this thing work as is. Steve told me for sure, he's like, this is what I signed on for.
Yeah.
This is the team that this is a team I want to coach.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I think Travis Schlenk was another one. Then I think, you know, maybe Joe, and I think Bob was kind of, in most cases, Bob was kind of the middleman trying to like back and forth. But I think Joe was thinking, oh, that's going to be a great pick and roll between Kevin Love and Steph.
And it would have been.
It would have been.
He was a great player.
The thing is, Kevin wasn't a great defensive player.
Right.
Draymond, all-time defensive player. And at that point, Klay was one of the best two-way players in the game.
Yeah.
So you're giving up really good players, two Hall of Famers, I think, eventually, and two really good defensive players. So there's all these little forks in the road that organizations take. They're like,
okay, I got this from Myers.
Okay.
And he told me that he had to make the Lacob said, all right, you make the decision on the trade. You've heard all our input and all that stuff.
Yep.
Lacob was in favor of the trade, I believe.
I think Lacob thought, that Kevin Love would be a good fit
and West
here.
waffled, I think.
Okay, yeah.
He went back and forth a couple times. So it's up to Myers to make the call. And Steve, he had just hired Steve, and he called Steven, and he said, look, here's the deal. Because Steve wanted to keep Klay.
Correct.
And so he told Steve, he said, look, I'm kind of in favor of this trade, but I just hired you, and I feel it's the right thing to do to give you the players you want. I've just hired you for your judgment and stuff, so we're not going to do this trade. So
I heard the same thing.
Yeah.
I heard the same thing, which I think is a pretty good way to go about it.
Yeah.
You hire a coach, and then you say, well, we're going to give you a different team.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
We're not going to give you the team
Or we don't think
wanted.
you're very smart. That's why we hired you.
We'll give you this. We'll give you this team.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. What are some other? Are there any other? I didn't even plan. Now, just to let people know, people that watch the show, kind of understand the way I work, is that I'll have a basic idea of what I want to talk about coming in, and then I just let the show kind of take me where it goes, and because I think it's more fun that way. Sometimes it gets a little goofy, but because I didn't plan on talking about this, but I think it's an interesting topic, and you have covered so many teams. Do you remember any other big fork in the road moments you're thinking about for other teams? That like this was close to happening, and if it would have happened, it would have been a much different outcome for teams that were involved in it.
Yeah, I can't think of anything other than
All right, great. See,
when
like I said, sometimes it doesn't work out as well as you like it to.
when the 49ers drafted Trey Lance, or that kind of thing.
Yeah, that one was that. I'd be curious to find. Well, shit. I had both of them over here 2 months ago. I should have like, hey, what the hell happened there? What are we
That's
doing
right,
there?
yeah.
Although that was kind of a fork in the road that because of Purdy ends up working out okay
Right.
for him.
So, what a
Last pick in the
bizarre
draft.
thing. That's so crazy. The
Isn't
whole
it?
thing is nuts.
You give up your 3 picks, and here's what I wondered. Let's say they don't get, and these are kind of rabbit holes mentally I go down. And it started. I won't say it
And you
started.
actually have rabbit holes around here.
I
'cause
do.
You have a rabbit.
Well,
so-
Rabbit Warrens, as they're called. Yes, there's a beer called Rabbit Warren, and I was like, so I looked it up one day. I go, what is a Rabbit Warren? And I go, it's the intricate caves they dig in, and they fucking have like housing, dwelling. They have like a little condo over here, a little apartment over here. So I'm trying to keep her from doing that because I don't want the house to fucking just become
Yeah, you don't
lopsided
wanna
one
be
day.
like a Millennium
oh,
Tower or something
great,
like that, yeah.
thanks, Bunny.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it. But people always got on the Giants for signing Barry Zito. I'm like, well, god dang, they won 3 champions. If you tell me I can sign a guy for $100 million and he's not going to be very good, and you're going to win 3, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Because that led to some other like, what if Barry Zito was good and their record was better and they weren't able to draft the players they ended up drafting after they signed Barry? There's all these little things that happen because one thing is it just again. Do you ever see the movie Sliding Doors?
No.
I think it's with Gwyneth Paltrow that like it's if you do one thing and go through one door, your life's completely different than if you go through their door. Kind of like the butterfly effect, but a little different.
Yeah.
But I always think about that with sports teams. Like, okay,
Like if you don't draft Steph,
yes,
yeah.
or let's say
trade
Trey
for
Lance.
Clay and
Let's say
Trey
you don't give
Lance.
up 3 picks.
Yeah.
Maybe you keep those picks.
Yeah.
Maybe those picks aren't very good, and you don't have the last pick in the draft, and you don't get Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
And right now you're 9-8 every year because you don't have a great quarterback. Did they get a little bit lucky getting Purdy? Of course, but everyone else could have drafted him too. They thought, hey, this guy's worth at least taking a look at, and he ends up being like, wow, he's pretty good. Unless some of the national media still wants to ding Purdy. It's like I don't know how you ding Purdy at this
I don't
point.
get that.
I don't get it either.
I don't. It seems like a really super solid. That's.
I think he's a franchise quarterback.
He's not gonna drag your team down, man.
No, not at all. Like I'm totally a Purdy guy. Like
Yeah, me too. I know.
I think Purdy can. When you win a Super Bowl with Purdy,
Yeah.
And everybody keeps saying, well, look at the weapons he had. Well, look last year. He didn't have very many weapons. He's still really
Joe
good when he
Montana
played.
had some good weapons too. Come on.
So did Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
Peyton Manning had really good weapons.
Yeah.
Nobody said that about Kurt Warner.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
he had Torrey Holt and Isaac Bruce and Marshall Faulk, nobody said that.
It's the whole thing. Like Steph Curry, there's still, especially around Curry's MVP years and stuff like it, people disparaging him, And so,
I don't know how you could do that anymore.
No.
Like
But
he
the
is.
same thing with Purdy. It's just
Yeah.
there's some metrics that put him right in the top 3 or 4.
Yeah. No, I think Steph is. We've talked about this occasionally. Where does he come? Where is he in the Bay Area sports pantheon?
Yeah.
Is it him? It's come down to is it him or Montana?
Yeah.
Those are the two.
Yeah.
But then you're like, okay, well, what about Barry? Oof, that's kind of tough because I think Barry and Joe on all-time lists are probably higher in their sport than Steph is in their sport. I would think.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Steph's coming along at a
I
different.
don't know. Man, Steph's getting up there too.
He is, but I don't know if he's as high as Barry or Joe.
Yeah, you might be right.
'Cause Joe's got to be top 5 all time, I would think.
Yeah.
I mean, he was whatever that means, greatest quarterback of all time. But
remember-
as far as like what he means in the Bay Area,
Yeah.
he might be number 1.
Yeah. I remember one time before, probably about a year before Willie Mays died, he was kind of ailing and stuff like
Uh-huh.
that. So I had this idea. I said, I want to get the top guys from each team. I want to get Steph Curry. I want to get Ricky Henderson because the A's are still here.
Ricky,
I want to get Joe. And I want to get, and So who did I leave out? I got Mays.
Mays.
Giants.
Oh, so you going one per team?
Yeah.
So Mays,
Steph.
Steph,
So I'm going to get Steph. Yeah. And Willie Mays.
Ricky. Yep.
And Willie Mays. And just get
Okay.
those 4 guys together, the greatest
Yep.
guys from each team, and just with no idea other than just get them together for lunch or something. Throw some beers or Cokes
Yeah.
or Pepsis out and just let them talk.
Yep.
I don't, maybe it would be cool if you could film it because they'd have some great stories
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But just the 4 Bay Area, the greatest of ever. And I talked to Montana about it, and he said, yeah, sign me up, I'll do it. I never asked Steph, but then Willie started getting worse and worse health, and so it never worked out. But I always thought that would be so cool to get those 4 guys together, and just, those guys have stuff that nobody else has. You know, that special sauce.
Yeah.
That,
No, you're right. Yeah, I'm trying to think who would be like if I could have one from each team now to come over and do a show.
Yeah.
It'd probably be Joe. Steve would hate me for it, but Joe. Probably Joe Thornton for the Sharks.
All right. Yeah. Okay.
Steph for the Warriors, of course.
Yeah.
And Willie's passed, so
Yeah.
and Barry ain't doing it. But it would be Barry. But Barry wouldn't do it. Maybe Will Clark.
Yeah.
Have him come over and do it. I mean, it'll never happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you start thinking of
Who you
like
got for the 40? Oh, 49ers Joe.
49ers
Okay.
would be Joe. Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
But for an area, it'd be hard to beat like those guys as like the best.
Yeah.
Like in each respect, because you're talking Steph's probably, and most lists 10ish, right around the top
Yeah.
10.
Yeah.
Joe's top 5, Barry's top 5. Hockey would be a little light, but Joe Thornton's a great player in his own right. I
Right.
mean, he's a heart winner. So yeah, I mean the Bay Area's had some pretty, and then we forget Jerry Rice may be the greatest football player of all time.
Yeah.
So Barry's been blessed with some pretty top end athletes. Are we blowing up over here? Are we like getting hot? Like, are we gonna catch fire?
No, I think we're okay.
Okay, I saw you touch
I'm just
something.
I'm just making sure it doesn't overheat.
I think we might catch fire. Where'd Max go?
He had something come up. He had to go.
Okay, I mean, I probably should have recognized this an hour ago. Like somebody just like, if he leaves, I'll be like, we'll be talking. I'll be like, is anybody
Yeah.
running the ship here? What happened? I think we're done.
I was watching your show the other day.
Yep.
And
Why were you doing that?
I don't know. And so I noticed this fence along the back. And for some reason, I kept waiting for Wilson to show up over there.
You know who I wanted?
Hey, you know, Tom.
Well, you know
how
I
the
want-
Navajo used
I
to
never
do this.
called him. You know who I wanted to get to look over the fence was Ratto. I
would
thought
be-
that would have been amazing. If you had looked back and Ratto would have been there, that would have been fucking outstanding. I could have him. I could have got him and fucking Kawakami to come over here and just look over the fence at you.
Ray Ratto, one of the great artists of all time. People don't know that, but he's very artistic. You know.
Is he really?
Yeah. And one of the things he does.
Whoa! I know. I've known Ray for a long
Well,
time.
I don't mean he paints. Nudes
No, I
of
know
his
he's not
wife or anything like
Michelangelo,
that, no.
but he can draw.
But he does these newspaper spoofs.
Okay.
Like when I retired, he did this newspaper spoof and all these funny headlines and stuff. But he does it very artistically, and when he keeps score in baseball, there's nobody that keeps score like Ray Ratto keeps score in baseball. Because you got your basic scorebook, right?
Yeah.
And you got your pen, and some people maybe have it thrown a red pen in case you circle the runs
Yeah.
or something like that. Ray's got this fucking array of like 25 different colored pens, and each one denotes, the mauve is for runners in scoring position. It's
Mauve.
fucking, and you look at it when he gets done with it, it's fucking beautiful. He's got all these beautiful colors and everything. And I told him one time, I said, "Man, I would love to have one of your box scores. I would frame it and put it on my wall." And you know what Ray's response was?
What?
"Ah, fuck you."
Of course it was. Of course
But
it
I'm
was.
serious. It just oh my, and he keeps these logbooks. I don't know. He keeps these logbooks of the baseball season, where just every pitcher on every team and everybody it's phenomenal what he does. He's so deep into this stuff. It's crazy.
I would say that as a sports fan and a consumer of sports product, whether it be visual the TV reading, auditory. I felt like I was so blessed playing here and then living here because I felt like I got two. And again, I don't read Boston papers, New York papers, Chicago. I don't read. So take this for what it's worth. But I feel like I got two of the funniest sports writers of all time in you and Ray.
Oh man,
And it was so different.
That's great company.
I mean, you guys were.
Yeah,
you
we're
guys
different.
made me laugh.
Yeah.
It was in a different way, but I mean, what was it like working with him? Like, did you guys like hang out? Did you know each other at all? Because I mean, your brand of humor is just fucking yours and his. It just fucking kills me.
Well, it was most. Well, Ray's great in the press box because he's always like Ray, you know.
He's always Ray.
Yeah.
He's always Ray.
I like road trips. I remember one time when the Giants went to the World Series under Dusty Baker, and I remember one scene. We're in a hotel room night between one of the games, and there were probably 15 of us sports writers in there, just up partying, drinking, and Ray just took over. He just took over. You know, I wish I would have taped it. We used to have the Chronicle used to have this guy named Rusty Simmons that covered the Warriors.
Rusty,
Really good guy, super good guy, and Rusty's parents lived in San Antonio. So when we'd go down to San Antonio, like for the playoffs, Rusty's parents would pick us up.
Oh, wow.
And they'd pick us up at the airport. There'd be like 5 of us, you know, Killian and Ratto and me and Jenks or whatever it was. And they would take us around. But the word is Rusty's parents were very religious. So don't swear around them and stuff like that. You know, they're very nice people and they're cool and everything. And so they pick it. And we were driving down the street and Ratto, look at that motherfucker over there. Look at that stupid cocksucker. Yeah, geez. And and the mom is laughing her ass off, and she basically falls in love with Ratto. She would have run away with Ray Ratto, this foul-mouthed little dude from the Bay Area. Yeah, he's got a certain charm to him, Ray does.
Oh, Ray! The one thing I've never been able to get Ray on was admitting that he was a fan of a team growing up.
Oh, yeah.
He will not admit that. And maybe he wasn't. I don't know how you can't be a fan of a team.
Yeah, you can't.
Growing up.
Can't not have
and getting into like I would have to suspend my belief and think, okay, there's somebody that's 8 years old that's just a fan of sports. Right. No one's just a fan of sports when you're fucking 8. You're a fan of a team. Like I don't know what I'll get first. Ray telling me what team he was a fan of growing up, or Jeff Kent telling me he has actually popping wheelies and fucking wrecked his bike in spring training. Like, I don't know which. Both those guys are sticking to their stories, and they're not backing off of it. But every time I ask Ray, he goes, nope, never been a fan of a team.
Well, if anybody could say that and make me believe it, it'd be Ray.
Now, Ray is unbelievable. But, Guy, you got to work with, I mean, what a great roster you guys had back then.
Yeah.
I mean, it was you, Jenkins. I love Bruce. Bruce, amazing.
Oh, he's my role model for writing, man.
Is he really?
Oh shit, he's great. He's so good and he's so natural and everything. And I remember one time early on when I first up here, I'm in the press box covering a World Series or something, and after the game we're both on deadline, so we're typing away, and he does this for like 10 minutes. And he packs up and he's gone. I'm thinking, what the fuck? That's got to be the biggest piece of shit anybody's ever written. I read it the next day, it's like fucking poetry. He's so fast and so good. And he's always got something to say. And it's so natural. It's just the flow. He's not trying. And
yeah.
Yeah, he's superb.
The great thing about it was you guys were so good and so different.
Yeah.
Everybody had their own niche.
Yeah, I remember we had Glenn Dickey who had this weird shit going on.
Oh, Glenn was wild. We had him on the radio. Ralph loved Glenn Dickey. I was like, Glenn. I remember when I first saw the picture of Glenn Dickey. I was a little taken aback. I was like, not that he was
the wig.
No, not the wig. Okay. It was like I thought he was fucking like Amish or something. I was like, what happened? Where'd the mustache go?
He did look Amish. Yeah.
But he loved Glenn Dickey. He loved, so it was Glenn.
We had Joan Ryan.
Joan Ryan.
She was really, really good.
Joan Ryan.
Yeah. David Steele. At one point we had
five
5 or 6 sports
Yes.
columnists. That was crazy.
Forgot about that. Like, and these are
Chronicle doesn't even have 6 writers now, let alone sports writers. Seriously. Wow.
all the names are coming back now because I remember doing the radio show. Like, we would get all you guys on.
I remember we were on when I moved up here. They said we want to have you on once a week, and we'll pay you, I don't know, $50 a shot or whatever it was. And so we would do our little thing. Then after about 6 months a year, they called me up and said, "Hey, we decided we can't pay you guys anymore. The $50 a week. We'd still like to have you on once in a while." And I said, "If I'm not worth paying $50 a week, I'm not going to be on to do your show."
I hated that.
So-
I go, you can't. I go, if you're going to ask people to come on without paying them, that's fine.
Yeah.
But don't pay them and then ask them to come on without getting paid.
Yeah.
I go, that's just like, it makes you seem like, it's like, I go, you guys can't see this?
Right.
Like, that's
Yeah,
like the
I
wrong
know.
way to go about it. Like, you just, Lulu loves
Lulu's
jumping
okay.
up. She loves
she's
jumping
fine.
up on our guests,
Yeah, she's
bothering our guests.
No,
But yeah, Jenkins.
Yeah, but we had a really good crew back then, man. It
Great
was-
crew.
Yeah.
Great crew. But so many people that I still like. Shulman. We
Henry
had on all
Shulman,
the time.
really good.
Loved Henry.
Yeah. Great guy.
Yep.
Also.
Susan,
What a great crew.
still have on. I have on this show
Yeah.
occasionally. Susan Slusser is just fantastic, and Killian.
Yeah.
We have on. I mean, there's so
One
many.
of my great drinking buddies.
Yeah, there's so many really, really good. Hey, look, I think what's happened to the newspaper industry is the same thing that's happened to the radio industry. It's just they can't afford to keep the talent,
Yeah.
or they're short-sighted enough to think we can't afford to keep the talent when they don't realize the talent is what sells the paper.
Yeah.
And the talent is what sells the radio. And I think that's happened.
Right.
And I don't want to disparage the people at KBR because I still got a lot of good friends over there,
Yeah.
but I just think they look at it the wrong way. Like, let's just keep cutting back. And the more you cut back, the more you dilute the product, and the more people don't want to read or listen.
Yeah.
And then you got to cut back even more.
Yeah.
And then ultimately you're like, well, fucking let's just shutter the thing.
Where?
It's like, well, where are we at? What are we doing?
Newspapers going the same way. Yeah.
It sucks.
Yeah.
It's awful.
Yeah. Oh, let me take it. Can I take another?
Yeah,
fast
please
break?
go ahead. I mean, I've kept you probably way longer than I should have anyway.
Probably. Yeah.
But
You pay double time for overtime.
you know, Scott Ostler, I've kept Scott way long. I'm pretty proud of myself though. I haven't had to go to the bathroom once. I feel like pretty good about myself. So
Haven't broken the seal.
yeah, he broke. Are we on right now still? We're still on.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. I mean, I'm talking to Ogden right now.
Yeah.
Fucking everybody knows what Ogden
Here,
looks
hold
like.
on,
I guess
I'll-
that's okay. Keep it on. I'm good.
all right.
So, like, literally, what happens is I have people on so long that they got to go to the bathroom not once but twice, is what happens. And what have we been on? 3 hours now.
2:45.
2:45. So we'll probably wrap it up fairly soon. Scott's like, "Holy shit!"
At least he's not peeing on
I don't
the
know.
TV like Krug.
Kruger's peeing on the TV. Krug peed on our TV. Krug, what are you doing? Why'd you pee on our TV? I can't believe you did that.
He didn't actually.
I know he didn't. Nobody's gonna pee on the TV. No, but look, when you have people on that you like and the stories are incredible, like Scott's stories are so good. I mean, just so much fun. And I like talking to Scott, and I know we probably spent an hour on Lakers stuff just because I grew up watching the Lakers and he grew up not grew up, but he was covering the Lakers for the Times back in the day. And they had a great roster too. The Times had a great roster, but it's sad that's the way it is, that we're kind of doing the aggregation thing when it comes to newspapers and news collecting, that you don't get the Scott Ostlers and the Ray Rattos. Oh, you can still get the Ray Ratto at the Defector. Here I am doing a fucking Scott Ostler interview, and I'm pumping Ray Ratto's site. Fucking Ray. Are you kidding me? So yeah, you can still read Ray stuff, and then Tim's still doing his stuff at the Standard, and Jenks is doing his stuff every now and again. But no, I mean, the Bay Area had some amazing talent when it came to writing, and to be honest, we had a pretty good roster too when it came to radio, and that thing is gone. Bye. See ya. And it's just, that's the way it is. Things change. Like I'm not really bitter about it. Although I will say this, fucking KMBR, at least wait a little bit before you fucking fire someone who had fucking cancer and fucking had their lung collapse and were in the hospital for 2+ months. I mean, good lord. I mean, Sulu, what happened to you? fucking Sulu has gone rabid. Holy cow. It was like Sulu, and I read that like Mary Berner's taken over, and like, I thought she took over like 10 years ago. All I'll tell you is this: I don't really have that many bad things to say. I understand the business. Susquehanna was way better than Cumulus. I will say that though. I did enjoy them. I did enjoy our crew of Tony and Bob and Ralph and myself and Gary and oh god, Lulu's attacking Scott.
Like Gary said when we had him on the day Ralph passed away, call Atlanta for some pens and pencils.
Yeah. Yeah, Gary said call Atlanta for some pens and pencils.
Some office supplies. That was like he took one
terrible.
last shot at him
Terrible.
as he hung up. It was great.
All right, well, we'll wrap it up.
All right.
I mean, I've kept you fucking way too long. but
Yeah.
What's the?
Can we talk about Tugboat?
Oh yeah. Okay. Before we get that, because I do want to
All right.
pub your Substack again.
All right,
Where's
it's not
radio
about
and the paper? Where are they going? And what's going to happen in 5? Where are newspapers at in 5 years?
Man, well, they won't be on the street. They won't be in your driveway.
No?
You know, the print newspapers, any day now, right?
Yeah.
It's on life support. Newspapers in general. I'm kind of glad. I think I got it at the right time. You know.
Absolutely.
Not a growth industry. So,
Definitely
which is
not.
really
It's definitely not a growth industry.
And I'm not gloating or anything because man, I love newspapers. I think they like the bedrock of democracy.
Do you
and
think
all
you
that
were
stuff,
in? You
but,
think you were in the golden age?
Yeah. Oh no question. Yeah. I remember when, like I told you, Frank DeFord hired me for the
Yeah.
National and stuff. But back in the day, man, I'd get calls every 2 or 3 months from big papers saying, "Hey, why don't you come and work for us?" and stuff like. And they were offering big contracts. And one time I could have made a ton of money going to Chicago and stuff like
Really?
that. Yeah, and there was all that, not just because of me, but all that stuff was happening. You know, there was money, there was legitimacy. It was a real thing. You know, the newspapers were important, and like if you covered a team, they knew who you were because
Yeah.
there was only 2 or 3 in LA. There was two or three main newspapers, and the guys knew who you are. Now it's like you're a newspaper guy. What the hell is that? It's just you have no cachet or anything now. But yeah, to me it's sad because it's man. I grew up in newspapers. I was a paper boy standing on the corner selling my
Were you
newspapers
really?
in Los Angeles for standing on the corner selling my newspapers for a dime a piece, man.
Yeah, newspapers and oranges.
I should have added in the oranges because I wasn't making much cash after the newspaper. I sold them for a dime a piece.
Did you? A dime a piece?
Dime a piece, and I got 2.5 cents out of every sale.
Wow.
So you know, it takes a while to make $1 million doing that, man.
I guess it does.
But
Oh my
you know,
God.
but you can't make up for all the greatness of all the bus fumes I sucked in standing on the street corner selling the fucking newspapers.
And where was this?
In LA, actually in Monterey Park in Alhambra, which is
Yeah,
suburbs of
I know where that is.
yeah, near Pasadena.
I know.
So,
I know
yeah.
where that is. Wow.
No, I had myself a paper corner. I was standing out there like 3 hours a night
Yeah.
after school.
And don't you think radio is going the same way?
Yeah.
Like if it wasn't for local rights, I don't know what radio would be doing.
Yeah, and that's also sad. You know, one of my kids worked in radio for a while and got out, and I was kind of glad he did because, yeah. And the same with TV news and stuff like that. There's a lot of stuff going down the tubes, and not for the better.
No, it's not for the better.
No.
All right, let's talk about real quick before we get on out of here.
Yeah.
I want to talk about your athletic career growing up. What did you play? You said you could jump. You're 6'1", you could dunk.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming basketball was a sport that you played. What did you play? What was your love growing up?
Well, I played all the sports.
Like most kids did.
Yeah, extremely
That's what we
poorly.
did.
Yeah, I was a very skinny, uncoordinated kid,
Yep.
but not atypical. I'm not feeling sorry for myself, but
Yep.
you know, I was not in a superstar track. But I discovered basketball in probably like the 7th grade or something like that, and just fell in love with it.
Yeah.
I remember like 7th grade, coach says, all right, you got to shoot a layup. And we said, what the fuck is a layup? And so we tried doing it. You're going off the wrong,
wrong
you're
foot.
just missing the backboard and shit. And I just remember going with my buddy to the gym, and we spent like 2 hours just shooting layups, just trying to shoot a layup.
Yeah.
And finally kind of got it down where we could. But yeah, I just fell in love with basketball, and that's always been the number one. So, like in high school, I played a little bit. Our team was not great, but
Yeah.
and then I got a chance to my moment of glory. I got to school, college at Pepperdine College. It's now university.
Oh,
but
you're a wave.
yeah. Oh no, I was a Riplet because I was on the freshman team. But back then,
No, they weren't called the Riplets.
yeah, they were called the Riplets. They were,
There you go.
they were-
I love it. The Riplets. Who knew?
and so I go out for the freshman team because they'd have walk-on
Yeah.
like tryouts and stuff like that. So I make the team, not as just strictly a walk-on guy from the. So I wind up starting on the freshman team, because that's how crappy our team was.
Yeah.
And
Crappy, our team.
but we're in LA, so we play the other teams. We played SC.
Yep.
We played UCLA. And guess who UCLA had that year
Oh,
on
not
their
Lou
freshman team?
Alcindor.
Yes.
Was he really?
Yes, he was.
You played against Lou Alcindor?
Yes.
Get the fuck out of here.
So
No way.
So we go over to play. Poly Pavilion had they were just opening.
Okay.
The concrete was literally not dried yet on Poly Pavilion, but they had Kareem and Lou Alcindor at the time, and they had like 5 All-Americans on their freshman team.
Yes, they did.
They had Lucius Allen.
They beat their varsity.
You remember
team.
Lucius Allen?
Oh,
okay,
yeah,
their
Lucius
varsity
Allen.
their varsity was ranked number 1 in
Yes.
the country preseason polls.
Yes.
They didn't wind up there. They were ranked number 1, and so they played a preseason game. It was kind of a big deal game, and the freshmen beat them by like 20. They smoked the
Killed
best team in the country. And so we
So you guys played them.
and we're used to playing. I'm in Pepperdine. We're used to playing in front of 12 people. My high school girlfriend would come over, my parents would come over, and that swelled the crowd up. And so then we go over to Poly, and it's a freshman game. There's not even a varsity game that I don't think. And they packed it with 14,000
Did
people
they really?
for a freshman game. And we're oh Jesus. I remember my little freshman crew were in the hallway before the game, and Kareem walks through, Lou walks through, and he says, "Oh Jesus!" For one thing, we got nobody on our team bigger than 6'7", and he's terrible. And
He's terrible.
And Lou, very uncoordinated. Lou walks in, and he's just this. He's got a beret, he's got shades, got a big overcoat, and he walks. Oh shit! We're like, oh fuck. And so, like early in the game, like I have this moment where somebody takes a shot and Lou gets the rebound,
Yeah.
and he puts it back up, and he misses it and puts it back up, and like the third time it's like fuck this stuff, and he goes up and he jams it right, and it's like the backboard's going like this, and if you had a picture of that, you'd have these 5 Pepperdine guys that were just going like, holy shit. I remember, I went off that night, though. I got 2 points.
You too? Did you stay within 50?
Wow. It was pretty close. I think it was 40-something. But the weird thing,
You guys basically played the best team in the country.
yes, exactly,
Yes.
we did. The best college team in the country.
Yep.
And we were kind of dog shit. And not only that, but before, I was a power forward on the team because I had no offensive skills at all.
Yeah.
I just hand me the ball and I would go like that. But I could get rebounds and I could jump and I could do and I could play some defense. I was tough and I would elbow guys and shit like that. And so I was a 6'1" power forward on our team. And so like the week before, our point guard sprains his ankle. So my coach says, "All right, you'll play point guard against UCLA." Which had to be the biggest joke in the world. Yeah, I couldn't dribble 2 times on my own without losing the dribble, but yeah. So
That's amazing. You played against Lou Alcindor his freshman year at UCLA.
yeah.
Wow.
And Lucius Allen, like by halftime,
I think Lucius played for the Bucks too, didn't he?
yeah.
Yeah.
Lucius, like I looked it up, and he scored 37 against us that night. He just went off, and I'd never, like I said, I played in a league that was mostly white guys.
Yeah.
And so Lucius just goes off, and I'm like, holy shit. This is not the game I had ever.
Different sport.
Yeah, it's different. This is not even, yeah.
Different sport.
Yeah.
Wow. That has to be an incredible memory, though. I mean, you played against one of the. I mean, as freshmen,
Yeah.
played against one of the greatest players of all time.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I hate the fact when they discuss the greatest players of all time, it's LeBron and MJ.
Yeah.
The fact they don't include Kareem into those discussions, it just.
Well, he only played for like 30 years, and nobody fucking stopped his fucking hook shot. Right?
Does anybody remember how good he was with the Bucks?
Jesus.
He
Oh my
was
God.
averaging like 31 and
Yeah.
16.
And they put him with Oscar, who was kind of over the hill at the time, Oscar
Yeah.
Robertson, and they still won the championship. Yeah, he was an unstoppable force. Yeah.
Incredible.
And I guess, he was never known as a super great defensive player necessarily, and he wasn't a tough guy, all that stuff.
He wasn't
was
a
more
tough
of
guy, yeah.
He wanted to play basketball. He just wanted.
Yeah.
His whole thing was, let's play basketball. Why do you have to fucking elbow me in the throat and stuff? And so, so later on he had trouble with Moses Malone and guys like that. But yeah, Kareem was a force of nature.
Oh,
man.
shit, a lot of guys had trouble with
And-
Moses
and-
Malone.
Yeah, and a weird guy, Kareem.
Did you interact with him when you were down in LA at all?
So I tried, I was coming to the Lakers, and back then, like I said, everybody kind of got along,
Yeah.
and so basically I got along with everyone on the team except Kareem. He's the one guy that was really hard to break through to. I remember once I said, Kareem, I want to do an interview with you, but I don't want to do it at the arena. Can I meet you somewhere, a restaurant or something, coffee shop or something? And he kept resisting, and finally he said, okay, come on over to my house. So he let me sit in his backyard with him for 20 minutes, kind of like we are now.
Yeah.
But only we went over 20 minutes, but
I think we've gone over
But
20
he was
minutes.
always he always kind of held back and everything. And I came to understand in later years stuff I didn't understand back then, which is all the racial stuff. Like he came
Yeah.
out of New York during the time of this really the civil rights upheaval and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And I remember him saying once that he grew up not liking Martin Luther King because he thought he was too soft. He was a Malcolm X guy and stuff like that. And so Kareem had, and justifiably so, there was a lot of stuff going on then, right?
Yeah.
And so he didn't trust white reporters for the most part, and me and probably a lot of guys didn't know how to deal with him. So there was definitely a distance, but he was never he was kind of distant from his teammates too. Like Magic told me that, like the first 2 or 3 years, they basically never even talked. He was just, Kareem was in his
crazy.
own world, and once they got in the court, then the Magic shit happened. But
Yeah.
but in the locker room, they were not pals, and Kareem was not. He was, I don't know, he was a weird guy to deal with.
All right, a couple before we get out of here. Favorite person you dealt with during your time as a writer?
Yeah, but Magic would be in the ballpark.
Would he?
Al Davis would be there. I was driving down here to your place.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
I saw the ghost of Al Davis hovering over the.
Alameda. What's your favorite Al Davis memory? God dang, here we go now with Al Davis.
So a couple of years before Al Davis.
Another hour later. No,
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
All right.
I'm just kidding.
No,
No,
I
hey,
want to hear it.
we're good.
I
I
hear
feel
it.
bad for keeping you here as long as I
a
have.
couple hours before, a couple days before.
We're like drinking
A couple
SpongeBob.
fucking years before Al Davis died. He was sick for a while. Oh, one thing. During the time of his sickness and stuff, he had a press conference when there was coaching changes, and he had it over at Alameda. And afterwards, he'd do the press conference, and afterwards he'd kind of sit around and with some of us talk to him, and everybody had left, and it was just me and Al. And I said, "So Al, there's something wrong with you. There's people are worried about you. How's your health?" And he says, "I feel pretty good. How do I look?" And I looked around and I said, "Well, you look pretty good. It might be just the lighting here, And so Al never really knew how to take me. But this a couple years before he died, I wrote a column about Al, and I thought it was a sympathetic column. And it was saying that he just can't do all the stuff he used to do because he's not a young, energetic guy. He's got some health issues and stuff, so he can't do all this stuff. And so I really meant it as a sympathetic, not a rip at Al.
Yeah.
And so that Sunday, they have a game, and I'm in the locker room, and Al used to go in the locker room and talk to the players and stuff like that afterwards. So it's near closing time. Everyone's getting out of there, and I see Al, and I'll just go say hi because we had sort of a adversarial sometimes relationship, and we talk to each other. So I just went over and I got like 10 feet from him, and he looks up and he said, he was talking to, I forget, one of the linemen, and he looks up and he says, "Fuck you, Scott Ostler." I said, "What?" He said, "You heard me. Fuck you." Yeah. I said, "What? What's wrong?" And he says, "You know, that column you wrote, he says, all my friends are writing me saying that you made it sound like I'm a dead man and all that stuff." And his PR guy was with him, you know, and Al's in a walker.
Yeah.
And his PR guy jumps in between us as if either Al's going to attack me out of his walker or I'm going to go attack this guy in his walker. You know, like he's got to separate us. And Al is pissed. And I never heard Al. We'd had words before, but he never swore at me. So this is the first. This was a new thing.
A new frontier.
Yeah, and so he swears for a while, and then he says, "If I was 15 years younger, I'd kick your fucking ass." And you know, I thought about it later, and I was kind of flattered because he had actually given some thought. You know, how much younger do you have to be to kick my ass? You know?
You're 15.
I probably should have told him, you know, probably 10 would do it, Al. I'm not that much of a badass, you know. But,
Were you there at the Lane Kiffin firing?
oh, that was phenomenal.
That's not true, Kawakami.
Yeah, and the overhead projector.
The overhead
when he
projector.
fired, what's his name?
Yeah.
The-
Kiffin.
no, that was the Kiffin one. Yeah.
Yes, that was
the
the
overhead
Kiffin.
projector one was the. Oh my God. Yeah.
That was the most amazing thing. I'm like, what am I watching? What is going on? Why do we need an overhead projector here?
I was sitting next to Nancy Gay at the press conference, or who was our Chronicle writer at the time, and he pulled out that overhead projector and put it up there, and I just went to Nancy. I said, "Oh fuck!" Oh, and we're looking at each other like kids in a candy store. Oh, this is gonna be fucking good, man. And it was, man.
Oh, it was outstanding. All right, last thing. Have you ever been bribed to write something good about somebody?
No.
No.
Although when I covered the Angels, I told you in 1978.
Yep.
I'm currently a brand new beat writer, and I get this box in the mail from the Angels, and I open it up. It's like a shoebox, and it's got season tickets in there because they were printed out then, you know.
Yeah.
And so I called the Angels PR guy and I said, "Hey man, I got these. I can't take these things. We're not allowed to take free tickets from you guys." And he said, "Okay, you can send them back and bring them back and whatever. But just so you know, your sports editor takes them, and you got 5 other guys on the staff that take them. So if you don't, what the fuck?" So I took them. I'd give my family. Sometimes I would go to games and I would stand out front. And I wait. Some dad walked up with his kid, and I'd say, "Hey, take these 4 tickets, man."
Would you really?
Yeah, I was like Santa Claus, man. So, but yeah, that's the only time. I've never had anybody try to bribe me or anything. In fact, I've got a interview coming up with Colin Kaepernick. We were just talking about
Oh,
that.
you
He's
do?
coming out of the book, so I'm going to interview him next week.
Oh, nice.
And they assured me, and I made sure of this, that there's no off-limits kind of stuff. Like,
Yeah.
oh, there's certain things you can't talk about. So, yeah, you got to kind of hold your ground. But I've never been tried to buy off or been tempted.
I'm
And
going to guess.
our ethics are pretty strong, and you know we're not supposed to.
I'm going to guess we're going to be able to read that on your Substack.
Yes, you.
Channel.
Yeah.
So if you want to
So-
read the Colin Kaepernick interview, Substack.
It's also going to be on the
Scott
Standard.
Ostler?
I'm going to write that for the.
Oh, are
the
you?
San Francisco Standard. Yeah. I do some
Oh.
stringing for them.
Wow. Kawakami got to you, didn't he? Son of a bitch. Can't believe he got to you. Yeah, the Kaepernick era was a whole. That was a thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I'm in his camp. If you want to be before or against, you have to be for or against him. And I didn't agree with all the stuff he did. I still take exception to some of the stuff he did. But
Yeah.
But the general concept of being able to make your little statement without harming anybody.
I'm totally with that.
Yeah.
I'm totally with that. And again, if he would have been a better player, they would have dealt with it. They would tell you something.
Yeah.
If Aaron Rodgers was kneeling at that time, Aaron Rodgers could have knelt all he wanted
Yeah.
to.
They would have
he's-
given him a kneeling pad.
Exactly.
The NFL logo on it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the fact is, it's like I always used to say, talent tolerance. The
Yeah.
more talent you have, the more tolerance they're going to have for you.
And I'm going to defend Kaepernick because I think he had the talent, but at the time it was in a down cycle. The team was sucking, and so he was therefore sucking, and so it became easier.
I guess I would
bag
argue
on
with you
him.
there. I thought he was okay.
All right.
Okay as
All
a
right.
quarterback. That's just
I'm going to go above that, but
Okay.
Okay.
that's fine.
Yeah.
Of course, my okay is higher than most, so you don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, Scott,
Well, you think about the things he did, but okay.
No, there's no doubt he's a guy that could help you win games.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that. But it just didn't become about that anymore.
Yeah.
It became a huge distraction and I always made the comparison between him and Tebow, in that he was a much better player than Tebow.
Yeah.
And they're much different situations. But if you're not good enough to compensate for the distraction that comes with you, like with Tebow, everybody wanted to see him play. Everybody's chanting his name. They're selling more Tebow jerseys than the starting quarterback. It's like, do we really want to put up with this? Through no fault of his own, but he's like a cult. Like, it's a cult figure. Like, we don't want to deal with this. For Kaepernick, it was like, do we want to deal with the national discourse that's surrounding this? Do we want to have all our players have to answer all these questions for what he brings to the table?
Yeah. But don't get me started, because he said the next year he was not going to do his protest. He was going to call that out. And he was such a distraction that his teammates voted him the Len Eshman Award for the most inspirational guy on the team. So,
Yep.
All right.
So I guess I'm
So
going to have to subscribe to
my suck up to Kaepernick.
Substack.
Right. Yes, my Substack. Yes.
Substack. Again.
That's the key. That's
Go to
the key.
Substack .com, .org,
.com, I
.gov.
think. .com.
Okay. You can get your DMV, you get your license and everything over at .gov. And type in Scott Ostler. Nothing's happened to Scott. He's writing. If you want to read his articles, and I suggest you do, sign up for Scott Ostler's Substack. Thank you very
Thank you,
much for
Tommy.
joining us. God,
Yeah.
that was so much fun. I'm sorry I kept you so long. Jeez, I feel
What
like I
time- what
tell
time's dinner?
I feel like I tell everybody this. Yeah, exactly. I tell everybody this. Sorry we kept you so long. How much we had Marcus Thompson on last week for 3 hours.
Yeah.
We had Ray on for 3 hours. Ray was bitching
Only
the whole
3?
time. Yeah, he
Ray-
was bitching the whole time.
was-
So.
When's he not?
But when's Ray not? When's Ray not bitching? So we'll have Ray on next couple weeks again. But no, I mean, that's one of the reasons I do this. I get to talk to people that I consider friends and just sit down and shoot the shit for a few hours. So thank you very much for indulging me.
You're stealing money, buddy.
If I had money to steal, I'm stealing air is what we're doing. Once we start making money, then we can call it stealing money.
Your dog is snoring, so I think she's trying to send us a message.
Well, yeah, Lulu's like,
That's a
I'm
bad-
not,
bad
I'm not sure.
snore, man.
Lulu's like, this thing has been over for like 40 minutes. Please, it's time to go.
Oscar's starting to tell us stories twice now, man. Yeah, I'm getting the fuck out of here.
Thank you, Scotty. I appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Tommy.
All right, coming up, we're going to have next week Matt Mayoko and Mike Silver. I believe we're going to join us
shit.
in the backyard next week. So that'll be a lot of fun. Then we'll have
Ask Silver about the time we did a radio show together. We had a radio show in KNBR.
Did you what?
Ask him about it.
I don't remember that.
Ask him about it. Of course you don't. Ask him. I'm serious.
Was
Okay.
I there?
No. Nobody was there.
What do you mean nobody was
Nobody was
there?
there. It was on the air. You can ask him about it.
Okay. Remind me.
I will,
Silver and Ostler.
because I want to hear it now.
Because I
too.
want, I don't fucking have. How could you have guys done a fucking show when I was there? I was there. How could you?
We came and went quickly.
Like within a week? Good
No,
Lord.
no, it wasn't. It was shorter than that.
What? How could it be shorter than a week?
We had our show for one night, buddy.
No. Okay.
Lee Hammer put us on and took us off.
Says no. Lee Hammer says no.
You know, when the manager comes out after one inning and says, "You're toast, baby. Give me the ball."
Gave you the hook?
Yeah, give us.
That's amazing. Wow.
Didn't even call us. Just it was.
No, hold on. Wait a minute. Let me get this straight. So they told you guys this was going to be a thing.
No,
Or did they-
we told them. We went to them and said, "We want to do a show, man."
And so they put you on?
Yeah. And Hammer says, "Okay, next Saturday night's open. We'll put you guys on. See how you do."
And that was it.
That was it. We sucked so bad.
Did you,
I blame Silver.
did you finish the show?
Yeah, we finished the show. We limped in. Remember Gary Radnish was there at the station at the time. He called in and he said, "Man, I just called in because I feel sorry for you guys. You're sucking so bad." So I just want to try to give you a boost, man.
Oh, you guys suck so bad. I wanted to call you. God, you can't suck that bad on a Saturday
Okay.
night. No one cares on a Saturday night.
Steve Young was going to be our featured guest,
Yeah,
and Silver at the time was covering the 49ers. He was the beat guy, right?
yeah.
And so he lines up Steve. Says, "Oh man, you know Steve. Yeah, I'll be glad to do it.
Oh,
You guys
yeah,
show, So we'd have Steve on for 20 minutes or so. We'd help carry the show. Well, this is before cell phones and stuff. Steve forgets about it. Of
course.
He's a good guy, but
Of course.
right?
Yeah.
Okay. And so, so we got no Steve Young, our opening act. So
Hey, trust
not
me.
an opening act, but our headliner.
There were times where
Oh,
we would
shit.
call Steve because he's getting ready for the show, and he'd be like, "Bro, I'm at Costco right now. Let me get back to the car." Like, bro, it's the same time every single week.
Yeah, right.
It's Wednesday, 5:00 every single week.
But was it worth it?
I go get yes.
Okay.
Of course.
All right.
Of course it was. You know who else wouldn't do it? They didn't forget about the show, but they would just blow it off with Brian Wilson.
Yeah,
We had him had him for a weekly on the year,
he could be good.
and he was hilarious.
Yeah.
Like when we got him, he was really good. And our producer at the time, Jen Violet, she would spend like 30 minutes trying to track this guy down.
Yeah.
And then one time, I think it was in Pittsburgh. He said, "Yeah, I don't want to do it tonight. I'm out with my buddies eating dinner." And I just told Jen, I go, "You know what? Fuck him." I go, "I love having him on. He's really funny when he's on." But I go, "He's getting paid to do this. We're not chasing him
Yeah,
around.
right.
If he wants to do it,
Yeah.
show up."
Yeah.
I go, it's beneath us to have to chase this guy all
Right.
over the place to do a 20-minute interview
Yeah.
that, by the way, he's getting paid to do. That is literally it's the same day every
Right.
week.
Yeah.
He should know.
Yeah.
So at that point, I was like, just call it. We're done.
Yeah.
We're
Tell
over.
your buddies to hold the cocktails. I'm going to go in the restroom and do.
Yeah,
10 minutes on the
it's
air.
not that big a deal. It's not that hard, but I don't know. For the most part, during the show, most people are pretty good. But
Yeah.
I got fed up with people that just thought, "Man, if I don't want to do it, I'll just bag it." Like, no, that's not the way this thing works. You dork.
Yeah.
If I can know
Whether
what
you're
you-
getting paid or not, just
Yeah,
the professionalism.
It's
right?
professional. It's courteous. It's fucking common sense. Like, I told somebody I'll do it. I'll do it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna let you get back home. Thank you so much.
I'm not sure I can get there, but
You sure? Well, I got a wheelbarrow. I got a rickshaw. I'll take you home. Thank you, Scotty.
thanks, Tommy.
I appreciate it.
Yep.
All right, again, next week, Mayoko Silver join us next week. Everybody have a great weekend. And again, if you're running low on your beer, go by Fieldwork and grab one. Until then, see you.
And remember this, Tommy T. Cash and tickets is what it's all about.